Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshale Financial Group.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And
So, do you like the powdered donuts?
powdered sugar.
Oh, sorry, powdered sugar donuts.
No, the composition of the donut holes you got from Dunkin' Donuts this morning, much better.
Carlos said, well, I hear he likes powdered donuts. And I said, more powdered donuts. This is, more cowbell. We need more.
Why did you have to yell? You were
'Cause
standing right next to
I
it.
know. It's just from the movie when they needed more cowbell.
Yeah.
Or Saturday Night Live,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
So, but the ratio of powdered sugar donuts to the rest is you won. You won that game.
I appreciate that Carlos is customer friendly.
He is.
Guess what?
Customer is always right.
Right.
So a question about Mitt Romney's reemergence in the
yeah.
presidential campaign.
Donald Trump has a new enemy out there. And it's not somebody he's running against. It's someone who always ran, of course, because Donald Trump already dubbed him. He's a loser. Trump came out yesterday.
Well, so the question is this. The party poobahs, including Mitt Romney, I guess, who are telling us what we must do to stop Donald Trump, aren't they the same party elders whose decision-making over the last several cycles has given rise to a Donald Trump? I mean, is that fair criticism? Where did Donald Trump come from? Because Republican leadership at the national level, Republican presidential candidates for the last several cycles, even going back to George W. Bush for that matter, or even going back to everything post-Reagan for that matter, is that more or less what has provided a friendly landscape for a populist like Donald Trump? I mean,
well, Donald Trump always plants seeds. He says Ben Carson's a Seventh-day Adventist. And I don't know what that means. I have to look into it. So he always plants seeds. Marco Rubio might be ineligible because his parents were born in Cuba. So he always does this. And, he had the tables turned on him when Mitt Romney said he should release his tax returns because there might be a bombshell in there.
Frankly, I think we have good reason to believe that there's a bombshell in Donald Trump's taxes.
What do you mean?
Well, I think there's something there. Either he's not anywhere near as wealthy as he says he is, or he hasn't been paying the kind of taxes we would expect him to pay, or perhaps he hasn't been giving money to the vets or to the disabled like he's been telling us he's been doing. And I think that's the reason that I think that there's a bombshell in there is because every time he's asked about his taxes, he dodges and delays and says, well, we're working on it.
yeah, boy, that is a good example why Mitt Romney lost to President Obama.
Well, he said the word bombshell, and I almost felt guilty saying it when he was saying it because he's so nice.
I think he should feel guilty saying bombshell because he cannot substantiate the claim. I think he should feel guilty saying bombshell because because he's not as wealthy as he says he is, maybe, because he hasn't given him as much to charity as he said he did, maybe, because maybe he's paying a lower marginal rate than he should be or something. Isn't that the game the left plays? Warren Buffett pays a lower marginal rate than his secretary. This is what Mitt Romney calls a bombshell. Mm-hmm. Mitt Romney may be a wonderful human being, and there's every indication he is. I
love Mitt Romney. I know you don't love Mitt Romney. I love Mitt Romney.
I'm happy for you. And I know his milquetoast routine worked in Massachusetts. That 30-second riff about what may be in Donald Trump's tax returns, that is what is called in the business desperation.
Oh, I think he's a closet supporter for Marco Rubio. He hasn't come out yet. And this is a way to try and bring down Donald Trump. So one of the establishment candidates.
You think this is going to bring down Donald Trump?
Well, Mitt Romney had to disclose his tax returns. President Obama did. In 2012, he disclosed everything. He let everybody know how much money he made, what kind of tax breaks he received. And Donald Trump said he's working on it. Late last night, he said that, he talked to Anderson Cooper and he said, we're working on it, but I own so many different companies and there's so much involved that it's going to take a while to sort through. I believe in full transparency. I mean, if you're going to run our country, we should see how you're running your personal finances.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get around to that.
Anybody agree with me? 312-642-5600. That's our turnkey.pro answer line.
You can release tax returns. When I ran for governor, I released my tax returns, and they're not particularly interesting.
Can I have a copy, please?
Bruce Rauner released his tax returns. I agree with releasing your tax returns. Here's where I disagree. That this is going to be anything other than white noise.
But he keeps saying he donates money to Wounded Warriors Project. Well, let's see how much you've donated.
And then what happens?
And then if he lied, which that's what I think that this is leading to, that Donald Trump is one big fat liar who's really good at lying, and then we'll find out, and then we'll see. Maybe it'll knock him down a notch.
So here's the.
So we're trying to throw things against the wall, Dan, and see what sticks.
Yeah,
basically.
That's what's called desperation, and and the anti-Trump people. And again, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I mean, let's just call things what they are. The anti-Trump people who are so disgusted by what you described before as behavior of just kind of asking open-ended questions that are leading in nature without any evidence to support the query. A Seventh-day Adventist, is that weird? I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I haven't looked into it.
Is that bad? I don't know. Right. So now it's okay to do the same thing to Trump.
Well, they're trying. I think
the
establishment is trying anything that they can do to try and bring down Donald Trump.
I didn't ask if they're trying to do anything. I asked, is it okay to do the same thing that you criticized Donald Trump for doing? Because isn't that what Mitt Romney's doing?
Yeah. Oh no, that's exactly what Mitt Romney is doing.
Okay. Is that okay then?
Yeah, that's fine. Get a little taste of your own medicine.
Okay, so
we're not really sure if Melania's here legally. We don't know. Actually, we do know. We'll have that later. But we could start planting seeds.
So it's situational ethics. It's
I
bad
love
when
situational ethics. That was the name of my college band.
It's not
situational ethics.
It's not a bad band name.
It is really not. I'm writing that down on our band names list.
Okay,
situational ethics.
I just want to understand. I'm trying to just gauge the level of desperation among those that fear a Trump nomination. By the way, I'm kind of one of them. I fear Trump presidency. I just don't know what to fear. But when everybody kind of throws away their principled criticisms of Donald Trump in an effort to stop him, it sort of undermines the criticisms of Trump, at least coming from some. Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Dan and Amy, I'm actually pulling over on the side of the road because I'm so enraged by this. The fact that the guy is funding his own campaign, or I think he is, but he isn't taking in much donations, tells you that the guy's got something going on, that he doesn't need other people's money to run. And for Romney to come out and throw these bombshells like that is the stupidest thing the Republican Party can possibly do. Why doesn't he just say, you know what, I think he also has porn on his computer as well. Why don't you come out with that as well?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Now that you've said that, he could have that on one of his computers.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing
throw it out there. Why not? Let's throw everything out there. Unbelievable. Are these guys playing to win, or are they playing to lose? And it looks like they're playing to lose again.
Thanks for the call, Ed. They are playing to lose. And Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz seem to be playing to lose as well. Marco Rubio seems to be getting confused by the process. He's so out of sorts by Trump.
Where do you see that you can win?
Well, first of all, we have to understand that you don't win the nomination by how many states you win.
Well,
isn't it about how many delegates you receive?
Yes, that was.
And right now, Trump has 80, and Ted and Marco are close.
Yeah,
14 and 15.
That was Marco Rubio's point. Yeah. I'm taking it out of context. That was when he was on Fox and Friends yesterday morning. But it's just, it's just such a bizarre statement to make. The way that he makes it, rationalizing getting hammered in Nevada, rationalizing, his kind of up and down performances in the last three states. And frankly, Ted Cruz is in the same camp. But the idea that they're going to continue doing what they've been doing and somehow get to Trump, I think Charles Krauthammer and I are in agreement, except with respect to this whole tax return issue.
Well, obviously, if Cruz and Rubio continue what they're doing, they're going to lose. Simply hasn't worked. If you look what happened in Nevada, Trump won everything. He won every demographic. He won every subcategory in the electorate. For Rubio and Cruz, I think Cruz has to stop acting defensively Forget about the liar and the dirty tricks. He got distracted, ended up on the defensive, wasted time. He needs to find an attack line. And I think it might also apply to Rubio. What possibly would work against Trump? I think you want to do a distraction. I think you kind of go after him on the tax returns. I think Romney is onto something. I think it can be deflected. I'm not sure it would be effective, but nothing else that has been tried is going to work. And also,
well, I'm not sure. I mean, Krauthammer is kind of taking your everything in the kitchen sink approach. Maybe it'll work. It'll probably be deflected, but maybe. I'm not sure there is a line of attack that can stop Trump at this point.
Even if he shot somebody on Fifth Avenue.
Well, and kind of purposely misinterpreting a borderline idiomatic statement is not going to do anything either. Kind of taking his bombast and saying, oh, my gosh, that's bombastic now. I don't think so. I think at some point you have to not just underscore Trump's hypocrisy on issue positions. You have to convince people that he is dangerous, that he would be a dangerous president.
Okay, then how can we do that?
Well, I mean,
after we get the tax returns.
Yeah. That's
well, if you don't release your taxes, there's usually something you don't want people to see. So besides the tax returns, what can we do to make him look dangerous? Because I already feel the danger. I feel heart palpitations. I'm a little scared. I'm teetering on scared.
I'm not sure it's about making him look dangerous. I think it's making the case. I mean, remember what this is. This is psychological. It is not substantive. So saying he was pro-choice 10 years ago and now he's pro-life today, that's not enough. You have to suggest that you have somebody that could very well be more authoritarian than Barack Obama. You don't know. You don't know what to be concerned about. And that kind of instability is not what you want in the Oval Office. Even if you have a Republican Congress to kind of round off the hard edges of Trump, I think that's the direction you need to go. I'm not sure Rubio or Cruz can get their minds around themselves to do it. Tom and Schomburg in Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's kind of amazing. I was watching TV the other day, and I watched a little news clip where they were featuring some really choice words spoken by a GOP Republican leader of Illinois. He looked like a little ferret. Anyway, he was talking about how Donald Trump was a nut job, a mental case, a quack, and this, that, and the other thing. And I thought to myself, if these guys would have spent the last 7 years talking about Obama that way, they wouldn't have a problem right now. But for the last 7 years, they said nothing.
Yeah, who is that ferret?
Somebody who was in charge of the GOP Republican Party here in Illinois.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks for the call,
Name
Tom.
names.
Our leaders are stupid.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Sure was a sleeper of a snowstorm here in Chicago, but in northwest Indiana, they got hit hard, up to 14 inches of snow. Today, much different. It'll be breezy with considerable cloudiness, no rain or sleet or snow, a high of 38 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. In northwest Indiana, it is still really nasty. I-65 southbound is closed between 113th Avenue and near 231 in Crown Point. There's a jackknife semi. Traffic does get by this on the right shoulder, but expect a big delay. And then it's really, really slow going in both directions south of there between 231 and State Road 10 at the Roselawn DeMott area. The conditions, again, still really rough with the wind and snow. Speeds are also significantly reduced on the Indiana Toll Road and 94 in Porter and LaPorte counties. There's no South Shoreline service this morning due to NIPSCO-related blizzard damage. Metra is honoring South Shore tickets on the Electric District line. Of course, you have to get to the Electric District line. The Chicago Expressways still look really good. The inbound Bishop Ford now a little sluggish from Cottage Grove to the Ryan. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Hey, Sean Hannity here, and I am excited to tell you about Chicagoland's finest gun shop and indoor shooting range. Now, I'm talking about Maxon Shooter Supplies and Indoor Range. Now, it's just northwest of O'Hare in Des Plaines. Maxon is Chicagoland's first NSSF 5-star facility and one of only 70 nationwide. Now, they protect your family and our Second Amendment rights, which are so important, and that's why Maxon focuses on safety, proficiency, education, and they take pride in the area's highest quality facility. Now, you can hone your skills on one of Maxon's 20 handgun, rifle, and shotgun stations, plus the classes that you need include Illinois concealed carry and 2 on-staff gunsmiths for your repair and customization needs. For more information, call 847-298-4867 or visit MaxonShooters.com. That's Maxim, M-A-X-O-N, Shooters.com. Maxon Shooter Supplies and Indoor Range, Chicagoland's finest gun shop and indoor range. 847-298-4867.
If you suffer from depression, consider TMS, an incredible new advancement in treating and relieving depression.
I'm Gina, and I suffered with depression for 19 years. And like most people, I tried medications and I couldn't tolerate the side effects, and they never worked properly for me. TMS was a great thing. It helped me out so much. Now I have the sparkle back in my eyes, and I'm able to feel great about life again. It worked really great for me, and I would absolutely recommend it to anybody suffering with depression.
TMS, or transcranial magnetic stimulation, is a safe, non-invasive, and highly effective treatment for drug-resistant depression. Most insurance companies cover TMS, including Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and Medicare. Depression can be beaten, and without drugs. To schedule a free consultation, call Theramind at 847-562-5868 or go to tmsmind.com.
There are 2 kinds of pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers in the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
AM 560, The Answer.
Wow, it's Thursday. You working for the weekend over there, Dan?
Yes, just like Loverboy.
You know who's working to make a difference in her husband's campaign is Melania Trump. Remember her?
Or Melania.
Melania? I'm sorry, Melania. Excuse me.
You should get to know the name of the next First Lady.
Oh, okay. Well, she sat down with Mika from Morning Joe because, remember Mika wouldn't give Trump hard questions during that town hall, and this is the favor. So you do a favor for a candidate, then they do a favor for you, and they give you a one-on-one with his prized possession, Melania.
Prized possession.
These two are in love. They are in love. They were in love from the second their eyes locked.
What was it that you saw in Donald when you met him or fell in love with him?
His mind, amazing mind, and very smart, very charming, a great energy. We have a great relationship. We are own people. I'm my own person, he's his own person, and I think that's very important. I don't want to change him, he doesn't want to change me.
And she was very polished during this interview, very fiercely defensive of her husband. She doesn't agree with, his coarse language that he cusses while he's on the campaign trail, and she talks to him 2 to 3 times a day, and she gives him advice and tells him to clean up his act.
What about some of the language he uses? He curses.
Well, do I agree all the time with him? No, I don't. And I tell him that. I tell him my opinions. I tell him what I think. Sometimes he listens, sometimes he don't.
Now, she speaks 5 languages. Guess what languages?
Slovenia.
Yeah. English.
Italian.
Yes.
Polish.
No.
Russian.
No. French.
Czech. French.
And German.
Oh.
She's fluent in 5 languages. And,
polyglot.
Yes, but she's not on the campaign trail with Donald because she be a stay-at-home mom and take care of her son. But the question that I wanted to answer, because Donald Trump has been hard on Mexicans and people that are here illegally. So is she here legally?
But you're an immigrant.
Yes.
Do you ever think he's gone too far?
I follow the law. I follow a law the way it's supposed to be. I never thought to stay here without papers. I had visa. I travel every few months back to the country, to Slovenia, to stamp the visa. I came back. I applied for the green card. I applied for the citizenship later on after many years of green card. So I went by system. I went by the law. And you should do that. You should not just say, okay, let me just stay here. And whatever happened, happens.
So what do you think, Dan?
I think
Are you warming up to her?
I didn't need to warm up to her. I have no problem with her.
Got her piercing blue eyes. I mean, she is stunning.
That was a good answers. Yeah. Ken in Harvard, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good day, everybody. Nice show. I love it. Thank God somebody picked up the baton from 890 and carried it on this station.
Thank you, Ken.
I just want to say that, I'm looking at Trump. I'm an SEIU member. They suck for the last 20 years. I've been punching in a time clock. I get up at 4 a.m. every day for 33 years, and I'm heading to work right now, and I look at my paycheck, and it's sickening. So I just want to say, what's the difference between letting Trump be a president for 4 years? We've had Obama, Ray, for Christ's sake, and I have been both Democratic for the last 25 years. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks for the call, Ken.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Tasty Catering is bringing outdoor happiness to you and your coworkers in a variety of forms this picnic season.
Down-home barbecue, street tacos, sausages and sandwiches, steaks, chops, fish, Greek feasts, pig roasts, the list goes on.
Tasty Catering picnic foods are getting more deliciously sophisticated than ever, too, which means you can meet everyone's needs with even more great picnic food options.
Organic, gluten-free, vegetarian, vegan and dairy-free options never tasted so picnicky.
Your picnic doesn't stop with amazing freshly grilled food, entertainment, rentals, decor, venue selection. Get everything you need with one single call to Tasty Catering.
Inflatables and crafts for the kids, games and athletics for the teenagers, beverage packages and entertainment options for the adults. There's so much to choose from.
The best company picnics start at tastycatering.com. View picnic menus, entertainment options, picnic spots, and more when you visit tastycatering.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next on Chicago's Morning Answer.
If President Obama nominated Republican Governor Brian Sandoval to the Supreme Court, would that gum up the works for the Senate GOP? We'll answer that question at 5:35.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. A deadly storm sweeping across the East Coast into the Northeast this morning. That storm spawned dozens of tornadoes and killed at least 8 across the South, 4 in Virginia, where Governor Terry McAuliffe declared a state of emergency, and this resident saw homes flattened.
On Thursday morning, personnel from VDEM will be collecting damage assessments from local emergency managers. As well, the governor will tour damaged areas in different parts of the state.
Republican presidential candidates hold a debate in Houston tonight ahead of Super Tuesday, the 9th Republican debate of the presidential campaign. A spokesperson this morning says a university in South Africa's Northwest province is being evacuated. The campus shut down indefinitely after protesting students started burning buildings. 100 gathered for a vigil overnight for a sheriff's corporal shot and killed while authorities were trying to evict a man from his foreclosed home in the Colorado mountains. Corporal Nate Kerrigan was killed. 2 other officers wounded severely in that confrontation. Snow showers still causing major issues in the Chicago area, especially for our friends in Northwest Indiana this morning.
We'll
will go to where it's more localized and lake effect snow. In southwestern lower Michigan, we'll probably see several more inches due to lake effect later today, and then we'll see lake effect snow off of Lake Erie in northeastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania, and then off of Lake Ontario into western New York later on today as well.
Dan Peterson telling us what we know. The worst is not over yet, especially in northwest Indiana, southwest Michigan, and then across the northern parts of Ohio. National Weather Service says about 15 inches of snow fell on Cedar Lake, Indiana. Here, ComEd saw some power outages. NIPSCO, though, saw over 30,000 lose power. Most have had electricity restored. Still problems on the South Shore line. We get details from that from AM 560's Jim Talamonte in just a moment when we update the traffic and transit situation. A defrocked Roman Catholic priest and convicted child molester will not be headed to trial again. Prosecutors say they were forced to drop aggravated sexual abuse charges against Daniel McCormack because the accuser was no longer cooperating in that case. A Lake County woman is alive after she was reported missing this week. Danielle Schultz was found unconscious in her vehicle in Kenosha, Wisconsin. She was last seen Monday leaving her Beach Park home. She is hospitalized in critical but stable condition. Chicago sports, Bulls over Washington, playing shorthanded without Derrick Rose. Winners 109-104 last night. College hoops in the Valley, Illinois State over Southern. Wichita State knocked off Loyola. Michigan in the Big Ten, a win over Northwestern 72-63. And number 20 Notre Dame foiled Wake Forest 69-58. The news this hour is a service of AARP and the Ad Council. If you're dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving to find a community with experts and other caregivers who can provide advice and support. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Republican race for the White House has come down to just a handful of candidates. And tonight, beginning at 7, the remaining candidates meet for a debate just days before the Super Tuesday primaries. And the only place to hear the debate in Chicago isn't on your radio. That's right. The only place to hear the debate is on the AM 560 web stream. Listen on the AM 560 mobile app or online at 560theanswer.com/listen. This is your election station, AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois. On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
This is an announcement for all people who want to take a risk-free challenge to whiten their teeth in 5 minutes using clinically proven power swabs. This risk-free challenge is for people whose smile has been yellowed by coffee, tea, or smoking. It's so effective, we challenge you to try it for 5 minutes to see how white your smile could be. If lines are busy, try again. Dial 1-800-663-1490. That's 1-800-663-1490. 1-800-663-1490.
Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois needs your guns. Get top dollar for your antique and modern firearms and military souvenirs by consigning them to Donley Auctions. Donley Auctions are federally licensed firearms dealers, and if you're unable to come to them, they will be happy to come to you and pick them up. Their next gun auction is this Saturday, February 27th. For more information, call 815-923-7000 or go to DonleyAuctions.com. Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois.
5:37. Boy, Northwest Indiana got smacked hard with that snow. South Shore line down. plenty of roads that are impassable. In fact, Jim Talamonte, we understand Indiana State Patrol saying if you don't have to travel, don't travel at all, especially in that snow belt that runs across northwest Indiana. It's bad this morning.
That's right, Mike. It's really nasty. There's no South Shoreline service at all to and from Chicago. Now, Metra's electric line will accept South Shore tickets, but you have to get to that electric line, and that's no easy task this morning. All the roads are have snowy and windy conditions. It's especially bad on I-65 from 231 in Crown Point south down to at least the Roselawn DeMott area. In fact, southbound on 65, all lanes are blocked. Not far from 231, between 113th Avenue and 231, there's a jackknife semi. Traffic only gets by on the right shoulder, but very slowly. There are major slowdowns south of there. It's also slow on the Indiana Toll Road, where there is still a ban for high-profile loads, long double and triple trailers, till 11 this morning. 94 slow going. Traffic lights are out for a stretch of several miles along US 30 in Merrillville. In Chicago, it's pretty normal. Just a little slow on the inbound Ryan and the inbound Bishop Ford. The other expressways and tollways are good. Traffic is a service of the Foundation for a Better Life. Hi, neighbor. Mr. Rogers passed along friendship, hoping we would too. Friendship, pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, aircomfort.com, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. For the bulk of Chicagoland, breezy with considerable cloudiness, high 38, but northwest Indiana, you're still getting pounded with more snow showers this morning. And hello to our friends in Crown Point, you with 14.5 inches of snow on the ground this morning. There are about 70 schools and associated churches and other organizations with closings from Lansing on the Illinois side into northwest Indiana. So check with your local district. Lots of school closings and other types of closings already on the board this morning. 33 officially at O'Hare. Next news at 6. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Schrank's Smoke and Guns store-wide sale on firearms going on now through February 27th. Visit smoke.gun.org.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so Donald Trump was at Regent University yesterday in Virginia, having a little sit-down with Pat Robertson.
Yeah, I saw some highlights and some lowlights, but yes.
I think it's unfair to call me a televangelist. I've been many things. I've mowed lawns. I've babysat. You remember when Al Franken did Pat Robertson on SNL?
And then touch the TV and you shall be healed.
That was the last time Al Franken did anything to contribute to Western civilization. Was this impersonation of Pat Robertson. So he was there. Robertson saying that Donald Trump inspires us all. Wow. The evangelicals rolling in line for Donald Trump. Very interesting.
Who knew?
Well, they're looking for a gunslinger, not necessarily one of their own, and I think that's the distinction. But Trump had this to say about the kind of person he would seek out as a vice president, as his running mate, since he is, he needs to do that. I'm calling him President-elect Trump because it's a done deal. But yeah, that was the question, and here was his answer.
The most important thing is you have to have somebody that can be a great president. But after that, you want somebody that can help you with legislation, getting it through, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say and it's too early, I'm not thinking about it a lot. I'm thinking about getting the ball over the line and, get this thing done. And it's a very interesting thing because some people know how to do that, some people don't. But I do want somebody that's political because I want to get lots of great legislation that we all want passed. It's just sitting there for years and years and years. We have things sitting there that would be so good, including proper health care and other things. So we're gonna probably choose somebody that's somewhat political. Okay. All right.
He needs somebody to authorize bills. He needs a legislator somebody to pen. To write bills and push through his legislation that he wants.
Yeah, somebody that understands the dynamics on the Hill to shepherd legislation he wants passed through the Congress and to his desk.
Well, who is that person, Dan? You heard what he said. Who's the best man or woman for the job?
You mean to help pass those those undescribed great bills
Mm-hmm.
that have just been sitting there for years. Follow-up question, an example. What's a great bill that's been sitting there for years that you would have your vice president pick up and run with to get through the Congress and to your desk? That would have been interesting to hear the response to that. But I don't know. Trump's VP, your thoughts on that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Who would be a good bulldog for that job?
Well, I'm not so sure it's a bulldog
Well, you have to
necessarily.
convince other lawmakers to go with your legislation.
Persuasion comes in many forms.
Does it?
I think, I think on the short list, I go back and say Carly Fiorina would be really interesting.
Yeah, but she's an outsider just like him. I
Yeah.
don't think that would work. Because even what he just said, he needs somebody like an insider who knows what they're doing in Washington.
Well,
I heard Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz when he was talking.
Yeah,
That's who I think.
maybe.
Oh, he'll choose one of those two. I think.
I don't. Cruz doesn't get him anything. I don't. That doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe Marco Rubio. I'm not sure Marco Rubio delivers Florida, so I'm not sure.
Well, what about John Kasich?
I don't know. It's difficult because it's such a personality issue with him. Can Trump put aside his personality to make the right choice, not just to select a loyalist? Well, it'd be interesting to see. He's got a couple of actual members of Congress now that are endorsing him.
Oh, yeah.
Trump's first two congressional endorsements, Reps Chris Collins and Duncan Hunter. Duncan Hunter, that's a pretty solid endorsement. He's a pretty, this is Duncan Hunter, the son of Duncan Hunter,
okay.
the previous Congressman Duncan Hunter. But he's a military and obviously a vociferous defender of the vets. He's the guy that's taken the lead on that Marine that's going to be potentially thrown out of the military for hitting
stopping
that pedophile in
Yeah,
Afghanistan. We talked about that too. And actually, that's coming up March 1st. Let's see.
Yeah, he's a military hawk. That's good. Who else?
What did Duncan Hunter say? Hunter said, we need a leader as president. I don't think Trump wants my endorsement, and that's one reason I like him. I think you have more Trump supporters in Congress. They just have to come out of the closet, so to speak. Pretty funny stuff with Duncan Hunter.
And then Ted Cruz got the endorsement of the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, yesterday. And Hillary Clinton, we haven't talked about the Hill Dog. Senator Harry Reid's endorsing her, and everyone thinks that that's a big, huge endorsement. That's going to put her over the top.
It's nice that he waited for the Nevada caucus to get over before he had the courage to endorse her. So Trump also weighed in on Supreme Court Justice. He was asked by Robertson what criteria you would use to pick somebody, and Trump said pro-life. We won. It starts with that. Very conservative, very, very smart. I mean, like Judge Scalia would be perfect. He was a perfect representative. I always said that Justice Thomas doesn't get enough credit. He's a wonderful man, a wonderful guy. And I've always liked Judge Alito. He's a terrific guy. So that is, so in that realm is what we're talking about for me. So he hit all the right names, Alito and Scalia and Thomas. Maybe you can get Thomas to step down and run with him.
Oh, that's right.
And here's what President Obama is trying to do, potentially for a Supreme Court nominee to gum up the works within the Senate Republican caucus that have taken the position that no nominee that President Obama puts forward shall receive a hearing, that this needs to wait for the next president. Well, there was rumors abounding yesterday that Governor Brian Sandoval is someone that President Obama may consider. Brian Sandoval, Latino, Republican governor of Nevada, former federal judge. He said yesterday through a spokesman that neither he nor his staff have been contacted by the Obama administration regarding any potential vetting. But he also said it would be a privilege, calling the Supreme Court the essence of justice in this country. And Harry Reid, speaking of Harry Reid's endorsements, said of Sandoval, this could be the kiss of death, he was a good judge. He's been a very excellent governor. I like him very much. I would support him. I would rather we had somebody a little bit more progressive. I'll do what I can, but I'm not pushing his name.
Well, the Washington Post said that Harry Reid had contacted Sandoval and that the vetting process began. And then Sandoval's office denied it, but now they can't really deny it anymore.
Well, they can deny it as long as they want.
Well, but don't you think a Sandoval confirmation would prevent the next Republican president from nominating a more conservative candidate?
Well, a Sandoval confirmation? Well,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, then there wouldn't be a vacancy.
Well, but I mean, but I'm just saying, what do you think that this is a good idea for President Obama
To try
and squeeze in a Republican governor who's pro-choice, says he believes the gay marriage issue is settled. I mean, but he's also conservative on gun rights and labor unions.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, I think this is an idea that perhaps the White House is kicking around to try and middle Republicans. I think McConnell, this will be an interesting test. But when you draw the line and say, no, it's not going to happen, we're going to wait for the next president, we're not going to do it, then I think you have to hold that line. Because what is the problem with Republicans? What is given rise to Trump? Much like President Obama's red line in Syria, Republicans drawing lines and then erasing them and saying, oh, no, the line's here that we won't cross or that you won't cross. Okay, we'll erase that one.
Well, I think it's a risky gamble because if there's a Democratic president, then we have a chance of having a flaming liberal in there.
Well, not if you still have a majority of Republicans in the Senate. Then you don't. So this is the time when you talk about, again, the successor to Anthony Scalia, where you draw a line and you man that line and you stand on principle and you wait until you have President Trump and you get a more conservative judge than even Brian Sandoval. Or maybe Brian Sandoval is on the short list again. I think you could get somebody, frankly, that is a more talented jurist than Sandoval.
Mm-hmm.
His legal record is a little
Wasn't
bit.
he Attorney General?
Attorney General of Nevada. Yeah, I mean it's
a federal district judge.
It's not inconsequential, but it's not. It doesn't rise.
It's not impressive.
It doesn't rise to the level of a Alito or a Scalia, and I think that's what you're trying to find if you're a conservative. And I mean that in the sense of being an originalist like Scalia was, and so I think you roll the dice knowing that you should retain control of the Senate. And if you know what, if you don't protect the downside and the downside comes to pass, you have Hillary and Republicans lose the Senate. Well, sometimes, there are costs to do the right thing, but doing the right thing is a reward in itself.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
What a difference a day makes. Today it'll be breezy, considerable cloudiness, but no precipitation, a high of 38 degrees. And then tomorrow, chilly with some clouds and sun, a high in the mid-30s. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. In Chicago, it's fairly normal, but not so in northwest Indiana. It's rough sledding on I-65 southbound between 113th Avenue and near 231 in Crown Point. All lanes are blocked with a jackknife semi. Traffic only gets by on the right shoulder. Then south of 231 in both directions, we see heavy delays due to just the winter weather conditions. Number of crashes and spinouts have been reported, and ramps are in really rough shape. It's also slow going on the Indiana Toll Road in Porter and LaPorte counties, and on 94 as well. Due to the conditions, there's no South Shoreline service this morning because of blizzard damage. Metro is honoring South Shore tickets on the electric line. Edens, Kennedy, Eisenhower, still good. Stevenson, heavy Pulaski to Kedzie and State to Lakeshore Drive. 36 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Ryan, 21 minutes, 9:50 to downtown. Bishop Ford, 19 minutes, 80-94 to the merge. Illinois tollways are good. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Text from 773. Rehnquist was never a judge. Didn't say it had to be a judge. Said, I want an originalist, conservative, intellectual. Think, for example, Professor Robert George at Princeton. That's kind of what I'm talking about, whether they've sat on the bench or not. Turnkey IT is a name you've come to know and trust in AM 560. Turnkey IT provides small businesses with IT resources normally reserved for Fortune 500 companies. They provide world-class network installations and ongoing IT support for fixed monthly rates based on the size of your network. In fact, Turnkey IT has a program that fits the needs of your business. Turnkey IT understands that your business matters, and keeping you focused on it makes all the difference in the world. Best of all, their service can save you time and money. Turnkey IT can give you the peace of mind that backups are being executed, email is always available, files are secure, and you've got someone to call when you need help. Turnkey IT has people who are professional, friendly, on time, and a live person even answers the phone 24 hours a day. So visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
Winter weather is here, and this season's roller coaster ride and temperatures can be especially taxing on your business's mechanical HVAC system. That's why it's important to schedule a comprehensive review of your system today with Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For more than 80 years, Air Comfort has maintained hundreds of businesses' HVAC systems throughout Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. Why do they trust their mechanical systems to Air Comfort? It's simple. Because they understand that Air Comfort has the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as an MSCA Star Contractor, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a large service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900, or online at aircomfort.com.
Control, this is QL1. Side hatch is secure.
QL1, this is Control. We copy, showing normal cabin pressure. Over.
Control, this is QL1. Do you like mortgages?
That's a negative, QL1. Over.
Control, do you like rockets?
That's affirmative, QL1. Over.
Do you like rocket mortgages?
I'm listening. Over.
Of course you are, Control. Everyone likes rockets. Control, Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans is the first on-demand mortgage machine that turns the entire mortgage process into a fast, powerful, completely online experience.
Copy that, QL1. I'm gonna go ahead and push this button in. 3, 2, 1.
Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button, get mortgage.
Rocket. Visit for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan, remember the story I shared with you right before the show ended yesterday about a German Shepherd whose owner was killed while at work? He was a store clerk at a convenience store in Houston. And the dog waited on the front porch for 2 weeks and just was wandering around the apartment complex.
Stupid
waiting for his owner. No, that's not a stupid dog. That's a loyal dog.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant.
And people, in the neighborhood and, in the apartment complex were concerned about it. And they'd leave food and water for it on the doorstep.
Concerned about the dog, not about the guy who got murdered.
Well, the sad thing, that is true. And if you watch the video that Houston, the ABC station did a great job. So they show this dog and his puppy dog eyes like whimpering. Then going from car to car looking for his owner, then going back on the step. Then they show...
That's the story, not the guy who got murdered at work.
In the middle of the piece,
Right.
they show the surveillance video of the two bad guys that go in the convenience store and murder him. It's so graphic
Enough
and gross.
about him. What about the dog?
Then they go back to the dog.
Yeah.
And it was so disrespectful. They didn't even say the victim's name. And I've been trying to find the victim's name. No, there's no victim's name. Just this precious little dog.
The victim's name is Patches or whatever the dog's name is, right?
So we've little new information. The victim's brother has decided to come forward to maybe take the dog. He's going to do a little trial and see if he and the dog are compatible. And but eventually how they got the dog down is this woman saw, heard on social media and saw what was going on. So she went and worked to try to befriend this dog with her golden retriever. And eventually after a few hours, they got a rope around the dog, got a leash on him, put him in the car, and he drove away.
Yeah. In lieu of flowers, you can send donations to the dog so that he can enjoy whatever new home he finds.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The big Home and Garden Expo that Bob Vila promotes is coming to the Tinley Park Convention Center March 5th and 6th. If you're looking to remodel your kitchen, bathroom, basement, or maybe get a new roof, flooring, windows, or a new deck, then this is the event for you. At this two-day expo, you'll meet local and national contractors displaying their products and services. Get fresh ideas, set up estimates, and talk directly with contractors, many of which are offering huge discounts. Enhance your landscaping and beautify your yard with Ted's Greenhouse, offering a wide variety variety of the finest plants in the area. Find everything you need for your home under one roof. Special announcement. Design expert Kelly Edwards of HGTV's Design on a Dime will be presenting both days, Saturday and Sunday, March 5th and 6th, from 12 to 1 p.m. and giving away cash and prizes. Don't miss the big Home and Garden Expo coming March 5th and 6th to the Tinley Park Convention Center. For more information, please visit homeshowevent.com. That's homeshowevent.com.
It's time to get out of the suburbs and enjoy all that the Chicago Lakefront has to offer. Visit chicagoradiodeals.com and find a fabulous entertainment cruise experience for two on Lake Michigan for only $150. You'll enjoy a gourmet dinner and a spectacular view of the Chicago skyline aboard the elegant yacht, the Odyssey at Navy Pier. Now, if you feel like dancing the night away, then you'll love the Spirit of Chicago cruise. $125 for two. Includes dinner and fun in the floating rooftop and dancing while taking in the views of the city. Or for an evening of casual fun and great food, go aboard the Mystic Blue for only $100 per couple. Now, these cruises go out through the winter months, so you can enjoy dining, entertainment, and the lakefront aboard all these ships in the comfort of climate-controlled rooms. Romance and fun are in the air, brought to you by chicagoradiodeals.com. That's chicagoradiodeals.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing, independently owned business bank. Signature Bank listens to your story, learns about your business, and sticks with their customers. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Brian Duncan, co-founder of Signature Bank. Born and raised in Chicagoland, my partners and I knew this city needed a locally owned business bank. As fellow entrepreneurs, we know the challenges facing businesses, and we are invested in our customers' success. We are here to build mutually beneficial, long-term, lasting relationships with our customers. We look forward to helping our customers reach their goals every day, and we are here to see them succeed. At Signature Bank, you work directly with decision makers who understand your business and can deliver on their promises.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
What about a third-party independent run by a conservative at 6:06?
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
A winter storm creates major issues in the Chicago area and northwest Indiana. With a breezy and cloudy day ahead, WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Some people still out of power from the Carolinas to New York from a nasty storm system.
I was standing in the kitchen and the daggone this wind I ever heard in my life come blowing by.
He's in Virginia where 4 people were killed, including a 2-year-old child. Suspected tornadoes did a lot of damage. A twister may have also hit Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
In the community of Gap and this surrounding area, about 40 buildings with some sort of structural damage, if not total destruction. We know an Amish school was totally destroyed.
Dave Kinchin with Fox 29 TV. People are still digging out from over a foot of snow in parts of the Midwest. It snarled air travel through Chicago. This guy in Indiana was stuck in his car for 2 hours.
The whole 2 hours, my car was just shaking the entire time from the winds.
Apple's CEO is further explaining why he'll ignore a court order to work with the FBI. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has this live.
Apple CEO Tim Cook tells ABC he has no plans to comply with that order to hack into the iPhone of one of the San Bernardino shooters, saying it would be bad for America.
Currently, the only way we know would be to write a piece of software that we view as sort of the software equivalent of cancer.
The feds say they're only asking for help with that one iPhone, which they think could have information related to the killings of 14 people. This, as the New York Times reports, Apple is developing new security measures that would make it impossible for the government to break into a locked iPhone, Dave.
73 straight wins. Have Donald Trump already thinking about a possible running mate?
The main quality that you want is somebody that can be a great president. If something happens to you, that's got to be, don't you think that's got to be number one?
Right. Exactly right.
And then I would want somebody that could help me with government.
Ted Cruz says not so fast.
P.T. Barnum is fun to watch. But there comes a time when the clowns and the acrobats and the dancing bears, it's time to put them away.
The Republican candidates will debate tonight in Texas. Super Tuesdays next week. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 31 degrees, winds gusting out of the north at 16 miles an hour, giving us a wind chill this early morning of 17 above at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Snow showers still causing issues in the Chicago area. O'Hare and Midway still showing many canceled signs up on flights due to yesterday's storm and the spillover from this morning. The National Weather Service says highest snowfall amounts hit northwest Indiana. 14 inches in Cedar Lake, 12 inches in Valparaiso, 14.5 inches in Crown Point. On the Illinois side of the border, Park Forest saw 7 inches, Lansing over 7 inches, but only 1.5 inches officially at O'Hare and Midway. ComEd saw some power outages across the south suburbs. NIPSCO saw thousands lose power. Many have had their electricity restored in northwest Indiana, where roads are still dangerous this morning.
It's pretty brutal out there. We found about 30 cars stuck in the snow with people still in them.
South Shore trains are delayed or not running this morning. Details on how that's impacting the morning commute coming up with Jim Talamonte in just a moment. Governor Rauner says he's now open to finding new ways to fund state universities and colleges dealing with the budget crisis. State Rep Ken Duncan introduced a bill yesterday that would send about $200 million to the struggling schools. Democrat presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will try and gather some support here in Chicago, hosting a rally at Chicago State University. Tom Ricketts says it's pretty unreal when Donald Trump threatens your mom. Cubs chairman speaking to the media yesterday for the first time since the GOP presidential candidate accused his family of secretly spending money against him.
But, the fact is, whether it's my mom or my dad on his ending spending stuff, or my sister on marriage equality, or my brothers, what they do, or what we do with the team, we're pretty much an open book. I mean, we stand up for what we believe in.
Trump warning on Twitter, the Ricketts better be careful, he said, because they have a lot to hide. Tom Ricketts says his family stands up for what they believe in. Chicago sports last night, Taj Gibson and Etuan Moore each with 17. Bulls guard Derrick Rose did not play. Didn't matter. Bulls winners over Washington 109-104 last night. In the Big Ten, it was Michigan over Northwestern 72-63. Number 20 Notre Dame foiled Wake Forest 69-58. The news service of Lead Safe America. What looks like ADD or autism may actually be caused by lead poisoning. Lead is a neurotoxin and may cause permanent brain damage. Find out how to protect your family by going to leadsafeamerica.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Republican race for the White House has come down to just a handful of candidates. And tonight, beginning at 7, the remaining candidates meet for a debate just days before the Super Tuesday primaries. And the only place to hear the debate in Chicago isn't on your radio. That's right. The only place to hear the debate is on the AM 560 web stream. Listen on the AM 560 mobile app or online at 560theanswer.com/listen. This is your election station, AM 560. The Answer.
Your company uses interior lighting 12 hours a day, 5 or more days a week. That's up to 40% of your energy costs. Now imagine huge immediate savings with worry-free replacement lights that fit in your current fluorescent fixtures. LED tube lighting with a 10-year warranty and up to 20-year useful life. Cost-conscious companies are converting now to cutting-edge revolutionary LED lighting. From factories and retail to office and residential, discover the benefits of quality manufactured LED lighting from Chicago's premier LED fluorescent replacement provider, Lights LLC. They're retrofit so there's no fixtures to replace. Made of safe, unbreakable plastic, they won't flicker and eliminate ballast buzz. Your employees will love them. To learn more, contact Lights LLC right now for a free lighting ROI analysis. Call Scott Moninger at 630-778-5002 or visit LITESLLC.com, 630-778-5002 or lightsllc.com. Lights is a proud Feed the Children business benefactor.
Uber is an app that helps you make extra money just for driving your car. And because it's totally flexible, you don't have to quit your day job to make more money, because you can drive and earn whenever you want. There are 3 simple steps to start making money. First, sign up for free on your phone. Second, answer a few questions and get approved. And third, start driving. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up today at drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a free domain with website from GoDaddy.com, starting at $1 a month. Annual purchase of website builder required. Price valid first year only. See website for details.
6:07 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. We get all the details, and I think we'll start in Northwest Indiana with Jim Talamonte.
That's where it's the worst, Mike. There's some snow in parts of the area, but especially in Northwest Indiana. All train service on the South Shore Line to and from Chicago is suspended because of blizzard damage. Metra is honoring South Shore tickets on the electric line. I-65 has big problems. Southbound, all lanes are closed between 113th Avenue and near 231 in Crown Point. The Jackknife semi-traffic only gets by on the right shoulder, and it's very slow going and nasty south of Crown Point in both directions due to the weather conditions and blowing snow. It's also slow on the Indiana Toll Road and on 94 in Porter and LaPorte County due to the conditions. Chicago expressways look pretty normal right now. The Aidens and the Kennedy are fine. Inbound Eisenhower got a 2-minute delay, Manheim to Harlem. Outbound, it's still good. Mount Stevenson, 39 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, about a 3-minute delay approaching the merge. Illinois Tollway's fine. Traffic service, FEMA and the Ad Council. When danger is imminent, will you be prepared? Now many mobile devices can bring you critical information from local sources you trust. With unique sound and vibration, wireless emergency alerts keep you in the know wherever you are. Learn more at ready.gov/alerts. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. AirComfort.com, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder. Breezy with considerable clouds today in your forecast. High of 38, mostly cloudy, and 25 overnight. Currently, we have 31 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by RadioPlumbingDeals.com. Have a plumbing problem? Get the best plumbers in Chicagoland and massive discounts at RadioPlumbingDeals.com.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
You know, frankly, I think we have good reason to believe that there's a bombshell in Donald Trump's taxes. Because every time he's asked about his taxes, he dodges and delays and says, well, we're working on it.
Nobody's been bringing it up except for Mitt Romney, and the reason he brings it up is that he lost in the last election and lost very badly.
What the polling data also shows is that head-to-head, Donald against me, we beat Donald handily. We beat him by 16 points.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, I have a gift for you.
Oh, powdered donuts?
No, that was your gift to me.
Yeah, how's that? How are they going down? What
Great.
number are you on? How many of you woofed down? Woof.
Just 3 or 4.
Oh,
Enough to keep me going.
That's it?
I pace myself.
Okay.
This is a pocket constitution.
Oh, is
that? But it's not for me. This is a special pocket constitution. This was given to me to give to you by one Fred Foreman, former U.S. Attorney
right.
Fred Foreman, former Chief Judge, Lake County, Fred Foreman.
Oh, I love Fred Foreman.
Yeah,
I mean, I respect his work.
I
like judges.
Yes, sure. They can come in handy.
Yes, they can.
He is my subject on this week's installment of Upstream Ideas that against the current series we do.
I love that setting. Where do you tape those?
The Skyline Club.
Oh, that's awesome.
Down Chicago. It's lovely.
So is that really bourbon you're drinking when you're doing those interviews? Or
No,
is that just
it's
prop?
Scotch.
Oh, excuse me, Scotch.
Yeah.
Bourbon's pedestrian. Scotch is what the intellectuals.
We cut the show after 2 p.m. I mean, I'm not a barbarian. I'm having a drink and a cigar like a civilized gentleman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, after 2 p.m.
Oh, I'm not a soccer mom driving people around.
Yeah.
Doing
So
laundry, making dinner.
So if you could, I'm going to give you this pocket constitution
Okay.
that Fred Foreman has designated for you.
Don't make me read from it.
But I want you to read this dog-eared section from Article 2, Section 1 about the qualifications.
Where does it start? Article 2, Section 1. Sorry, I told you.
It's right here at the bottom there.
Right here?
Yeah, right there. No person.
No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of president. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained to the age of 35 years and been 14 years a resident within the United States. 14 years a resident within the United States.
So there you go. So the question is, we need a conservative, at least 35 years old, who's a natural-born citizen, to run as a third-party candidate against Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. That's
Thank you for that. Can I keep this?
Yeah, that's yours.
Thank you.
You don't thank Fred Foreman.
How did I do on my
It was
my read?
an excellent rendition. Yeah.
Thank you.
James Madison would have been proud.
Of course.
So this is something that's being bandied about now because as the air of inevitability starts to subsume the Republican primary electorate, there are more and more conservative leaders who are suggesting, I am not going to vote for Donald Trump. Eric Erickson said he will not vote for Trump. Glenn Beck, I know that I won't go to the polls. I won't vote for Hillary Clinton. I won't vote for Donald Trump. I just won't. And I know a lot of people that feel that way. Bill Kristol has mused about starting a new political party if Trump wins the nomination.
Really? Well, who's going to be the leader of this third-party conservative run?
That is
because Donald Trump, he keeps telling me he's a conservative.
That's less clear. But here's the thing: Donald Trump threatened to run as a third-party candidate a couple of times. What if a conservative makes good on that threat? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. If you are a non-Trump supporter and a conservative, do you buy that argument? Would you like to see a third-party conservative challenge to Hillary and Donald Trump, who some are arguing are two sides of the same coin? To that point, this piece in The Federalist by Tom Nichols. I'll take Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. Tom Nichols is conservative. He writes, starstruck low-information celebrity cultists will vote for Trump under any circumstances because they don't know any better and don't care. For them, Trump is whatever they want him to be, and they will never change their minds. But he invokes what Ben Domenech has labeled the Hamilton rule, which is that if you must have an enemy at the head of the government, let it be one whom we can oppose and for whom we are not responsible. The idea is this. Donald Trump destroys the party from within. Whereas this is the argument that's being made, the Republican Party, the conservative movement, can withstand 4 years or even 8 years of Hillary and still survive and maybe even thrive coming out of that. Whereas Donald Trump is obliteration of the party from within. Nichols goes on. Trump will be worse than Hillary. Morally unmoored, emotionally unstable, a crony capitalist of the worst kind, Trump will be every bit as liberal as Hillary, perhaps more so. He is by reflex and instinct a New York Democrat whose formal party affiliation is negotiable, as is everything about him. He has little commitment to anything but himself and his quote-unquote deals, none of which work in favor of conservatives or their priorities. It gets even more strongly worded to give you some intensity of the opposition to Trump from the conservative intellectual set, if you will. He conceives of a Trump presidency, Nichols does. After 4 years of thrashing around in the Oval Office like the ignorant bore he is, voters will no longer be able to distinguish between the words Trump, Republican, conservative, and buffoon. He will obliterate Republicans further down the ticket in 2016 and 2020. Smear conservatism as nothing more than its own brand of narcissism, and destroy decades of hard work, including Reagan's legacy. In the end, the Trump administration will not only avert the first chance at unified Republican government in years, but will finish off the conservative movement itself. Indeed, it is a bitter irony that some of Trump's blind followers are willing to declare defeat at the moment of impending victory when a complete GOP takeover of all elected branches could finally overcome the obstruction of divided government. That's part of the argument that's being made, and it's the fundamental premise is Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, as I suggested, are two sides of the same coin, and you rather have someone that is an identified enemy for whom you are not responsible, you are the loyal opposition, rather than a consolidation, one-party government, the same amoral governing philosophy, but it's going to be under a Republican banner, and thus it obliterates the party from the inside.
Well, I told you over the weekend, my one Republican friend said, if it's Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, I think I'm going to have to vote for Hillary Clinton.
That's what a friend of yours
Oh,
said.
yeah, my one Republican friend that I have said that to me.
Everyone should have one.
Well, in the city, it's hard to find. I mean, it's a challenge every day. But I have to say, I didn't think they're crazy for saying it because they don't want to have another experiment. Well, we try something out at the White House. We try something out with the most powerful office in the world. It's, we just did that the past 8 years. I don't want to do it again personally either. And Donald Trump says he's going to surround himself with the smartest people, the greatest minds. I believe that he'll do that. But you really want another guinea pig, another science project, another, something in the White House that is a sure win, a sure bet, sure proven leader?
Well, the question is, will some of those greatest minds want to surround themselves with Trump?
That's a good point.
A piece I'd also direct your attention to, on topic in The Atlantic by Connor Friedersdorf. Will U.S. conservatives mount a third-party challenge if Trump is the nominee? He drills down on a bunch of factors that could help bring about such a challenge. Just a couple of bullets in support of the possibility. In some states, a right-of-center electorate divided between Trump and a conservative challenger could turn out more total voters who'd support down-ballot Republicans than the Trump versus Clinton race where conservatives stayed home, so thinking beyond just the presidency. Many neocons would prefer an Israel-loving interventionist hawk like Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump, but also value their place in the conservative movement. Supporting a third-party challenge by a hawkish conservative would be much less disruptive to their network of alliances than openly supporting a hawkish Democrat, even if the outcome's the same. So there's a number of arguments to make, and they're being made right now by those that have substantial followings among conservative grassroots types.
But I don't have to tell you this. I mean, a third-party conservative run would guarantee Hillary Clinton a victory.
What if it's...
Unless you can give me something. Give me someone.
What about this scenario? I mean, there's all kinds of wild scenarios.
Let's do hypotheticals. Come on.
What about if it's Bernie and then Bloomberg and then Trump and a conservative?
I think I'd move to Canada.
Why? It would be more choice, not less.
I don't like either three of those.
Well, you don't know who the conservative choice is.
Well, there isn't. If it's Bloomberg, Sanders,
well,
and Trump.
I'm saying, and then you would have a conservative challenger, and then it's a race to 25%. That could be interesting. Even if it's Hillary, Trump, and a conservative, depending on who that conservative would be, a race to 33%. I mean, it's the same calculus that Bloomberg is doing as he's contemplating an independent run if Bernie is the nominee. Let's go to Tom in Deer Park. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan. No one in their right mind ought to be voting for Trump. As far as a presidential candidate, it's all there. Dan, use your multiple resources in your mind. Have people take a look at the Libertarian Party. Libertarian is not an outlier of kooks. They espouse the conservative principles, pretty much everything that you've always discussed on your show. Their candidate probably will be Gary Johnson.
I like Gary. I like Gary Johnson. I respect Gary Johnson. But I mean, Tom, the problem with the Libertarian Party as an organized political party, to the extent you could describe it as that, is libertarians spend half their time arguing about whether it's a violation of libertarianism to organize into a political party. I mean, so it's not a viable alternative in terms of a candidate that's going to threaten the victory, I suppose.
Well, intellectually, I see it, as really lying not only inside conservative principles. There's some disagreements. You want to talk about the gold standard, this and that.
Right.
But small government, limited government, for the people, of the people, by the people. I just wish I could get more people. Maybe, your show, you're such a megaphone for people. If you could, maybe put that out there a little bit over the course of time. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Thanks, Tom. We'll have to get Gary Johnson on the show. We've talked to him before. He's a sharp guy, two-term governor of New Mexico. I mean, he's not a kook at all, to Tom's point. Take more of your calls on this topic after this.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, more of your phone calls. Grab a line. 312-642-5600 is our turnkey Metro answer line. Snowstorm that wasn't yesterday, at least not here in Chicago, but in Northwest Indiana, they got hit hard, and today's dig-out day for them. And they'll have breezy conditions with considerable cloudiness, a high of 38 degrees. Speaking of Northwest Indiana, how's I-65 shaping up? Here's Jim Talamonte with the answer.
Is shut down essentially southbound with all lanes blocked between 113th Avenue and near 231 in Crown Point. There's a jackknife semi. Traffic only slides by on the right shoulder. And south of 231, speeds are severely reduced in both directions in Crown Point and around Roselawn due to the winter conditions. A lot of spinouts and crashes. Ramps are in really bad shape. Speeds are reduced on I-94 and the Indiana Toll Road as well. There's no South Shoreline service this morning. No train service at all. Suspended due to blizzard damage. Metro does honor South Shore tickets on the Electric District line. Some snow falling in the Chicago area this morning, too. Nothing really causing a problem at the moment. The inbound Kennedy has delays coming out of the River Road toll. 25 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Hop on 21. Edens, just a 1-minute delay. Cicero to the junction. The Eisenhower, 32 minutes. Thorndale to the loop. Outbound 30. Stevenson, 39 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is 23 minutes. 95 to downtown. The Illinois tollways look good. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Got a great night's sleep last night, all thanks to MyPillow. I've been using it for more than a year now, and I absolutely cannot live without it. Do you know that MyPillow is a premium pillow with 4 different loft levels that's customized to your individual preference? And for our listeners who use the promo code Amy, you'll still get 2 MyPillows for the price of 1. It's MyPillow's best offer, and it's so important to get a great night's sleep. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies. Plus, it's washable, so it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. It's American-made. It's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. So be like the cool kids and get a MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code 2 for the price of 1, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
The stock market seems like it's in turmoil. 2016 has already proven to be a roller coaster ride. Is there another big correction on the horizon? Are you prepared? Or are you at the mercy of stockbrokers if it does happen? Let Online Trading Academy teach you how to navigate the stock market during these changing times. They offer professional trading and investing education for every skill level. They'll teach you a rules-based strategy, trading on knowledge, not speculations, so you can identify market changes before they happen. Online Trading Academy has a state-of-the-art educational facility centrally located in Lombard. Call today, 888-601-TRADE. That's 888-601-8723 to attend a free half-day course. Call now and mention you heard this message on AM 560 The Answer, and they'll send you home with a free home video study course valued at $247 just for attending. This is a great opportunity to learn from the pros. Reservations are limited, so call now, 888-601-8723, or online at freeotaclass.com.
Any Napa guy knows, and science proves, the best minivan is the one you've already got. Part kid transporter, part drywall mover. Who cares if the faux wood grain is a little faded? That was a platinum package option in 1987. With over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. Because it's not old, it's vintage. That's Napa know-how.
Spring is in full bloom at Ulta Beauty. Vibrant lips are saying goodbye to darker shades, warm and earthy tones are melting frosty complexions, and pastel shadows are replacing deeper hues. You'll have to see it with your own pretty eyes to believe it. Hurry into Ulta Beauty for all new spring must-haves from IT Cosmetics, Urban Decay, and so many more. Plus, buy 2, get 1 free on your favorite brands like L'Oreal and Maybelline right now through March 12th. Spring sure is beautiful at Ulta Beauty. All things beauty, all in one place.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, I'm going to sit this one out because I'm reading the Constitution.
Well, that's good. Fred Foreman will be happy to hear that you're putting his gift to good use.
And I'm going to have it memorized by Monday.
I've kicked up a bit of a hornet's nest here with this idea of a third-party conservative challenge to Trump versus Hillary. Let's go to Travis in Highland Park. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. So, full disclosure, I'm a Cruz fan, but I really tried to step back and give Trump an honest look. And what I saw was everything I despise about a politician. He seems to be the kind of guy that sticks his finger in the air, sees which way the wind is blowing, then he gets out in front of that movement and pretends to be leading it. So a lot of Trump supporters say that, he's not beholden to anybody, not beholden to any big money, anything like that, but he's not beholden to any principles, too, because if you just listen to him, his mind changes depending on the day of the week. So I haven't even trusted the guy at all.
Thanks for the call, Travis. I mean, that's essentially part of the argument that's being made for those saying Hillary would be better than Trump from the conservative intellectual set. Brady in Downers Grove, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Brady.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
I think we are forgetting the ultimate enemy here, and that is the Democratic Party and the leftist ideas. And the oldest saying in the book is, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The thought.
Yep, thanks for the call, Brady. I get that. Liberal Fred on the north side.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but nobody's been able to tell the difference between a conservative and a buffoon for ages. The Republican Party is always talking about the will of the people. It seems now what only matters is the will of the Republican Party hierarchy. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Fred, although it seems like it doesn't matter because the will of the Republican hierarchy is being violated by the voters who are supporting Trump, isn't it, Fred? Oh, Steve on the Eisenhower.
Yeah, good morning. I voted for you, Dan.
Oh, thank you. My one vote from the Eisenhower.
Why don't the intellectuals be intellectual about this and hook their candidate up as a vice president with Trump and ride that horse into the White House? After 4 years, Trump might say he's bored anyway, or you beat him in a second term with your guy. Put Bobby Jindal with Donald Trump, you get the Indian vote.
Okay, thanks for the call, Steve. Well, I mean, his VP pick will be particularly important, not just because of what could come after Trump, but also
to help Trump with his job.
Well,
they have to guide him in D.C.
He's also 70. You know, I mean, I hope I hope he lives for 100 years. But I'm just saying. I mean, Trump said it himself at Regent University. If something happens to me, that's why you have to have a VP that's ready to assume the office. He's right about that. Candace in DuPage.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Even Dennis Prager, who I know you listen to, Dan,
yes,
who's not a Trump fan, and I'm not really a Trump fan either. I mean, I liked Cruz last night, and Ben Carson did an amazing job last night with Megyn Kelly, I thought. It's just too bad he's not a little bit more forceful. But I really think that it's all about the Supreme Court, and it drives me crazy that people like Glenn Beck, who, you know, when Obamacare was going through, organized 2 million people to go to Washington. He hasn't really done anything like that since. You know, to me, they seem like pouty babies. I mean, not all of us have the luxury of having Gavin DeBeck security follow us around all day. You know, we have, mortgages to pay and stuff that we have to get done before the collapse,
Yeah.
And these rich elitists who are like, I'm not going to vote, I'm going to stay home. You know what? Screw them.
Thanks.
Okay, because we have things to do before the collapse.
Thanks for the call, Candace, and great impersonation for Rich Elitas, too. Thank you.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Ah, yes, the good old 9 to 5. Good stuff, huh? You can almost feel the life force getting sucked right out of you. You've always wanted to be your own boss and take control of your financial future. It's about time you contacted the franchise professional who can guide you to success. Franchising guru Meg Schmitz is your key. She's been a franchise insider for over 25 years and has started and run top-tier businesses of all kinds. She can match you with the franchise opportunity that fits your goals the best. Why would you leave that choice up to the internet? Safe to say that Mr. and Mrs. Google probably won't get to know you the way Meg will. Make an educated decision about buying a gold standard franchise that fits you like a glove. Call Meg Schmitz for your free guide to business ownership at 847-302-2601 or visit goldstandardfranchise.com for more information. Take control of your financial future and be your own franchise boss now. 847-302-2601 or goldstandardfranchise.com.
Got a few text messages from 708. Write in Ted Cruz. Interesting. Hey, if you're a parent and you've always thought about sending your kids to a private school and thought, you know what, I can't afford it, we want to tell you about halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you can find dozens of local private schools that are offering vouchers for a full year of tuition at half the price. There's no catch. Find a school near you, purchase a tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. It is that simple. HalfPriceSchools.com has schools located all across the Chicagoland area, including Palatine, Grays Lake, South Holland, Chicago, just to name a few. Now, this might make private schools a real option for your family for the first time, but do not wait. These vouchers sell out every year. Visit HalfPriceSchools.com today. That's HalfPriceSchools.com. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I need to take a little bit of a cleansing breath, do something uplifting. A story about the father of a young man with Down syndrome at 6:36.
And later, you'll never believe what an Iowa basketball team did, and it has to be political. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Houston, the site of tonight's Republican presidential debate, with Donald Trump's grasp on the nomination beginning to tighten. His rivals get a chance to try and derail the GOP frontrunner before Super Tuesday. The Republican presidential candidates recently fielded questions from voters in Texas on a Fox News town hall event where Texas Senator Ted Cruz knocked Trump for not releasing his tax return.
You know, an awful lot of people speculate that he hasn't made nearly as much money as he said. Who knows, because he doesn't release his tax returns. But, you know, I do think Mitt has a good point that the voters are entitled to know before they vote, because you better believe the Democrats, if there's anything in there, the Democrats are going to go to town on this.
2012 GOP nominee Mitt Romney says those returns may contain a bombshell.
I think there's something there. Either he's not anywhere near as wealthy as he says he is, or he hasn't been paying the kind of taxes we would expect him to pay, or perhaps he hasn't been giving money to the vets or to the disabled like he's been telling us he's been doing.
Romney on Fox News. There is a state of emergency in Virginia this morning. 4 were killed after tornadoes damaged homes and left thousands without power across the state. Carla Ramos is the Virginia Department of Emergency Management spokesperson.
On Wednesday evening, Governor McAuliffe declared a state of emergency in Virginia, which authorizes state agencies to identify and pre-position resources for quick response. This allows us to take action and protect the life of citizens and the property in Virginia.
Here in the Midwest, powerful storms brought heavy snow and biting winds, leading to mass cancellations at O'Hare and Midway and blizzard-like conditions in northwest Indiana. A high-risk attempt to serve an eviction notice in Park County, Colorado, turned into a gunfight that left a law enforcement officer dead, along with that man being evicted. The shooting killed Corporal Nate Kerrigan, a 13-year veteran of the sheriff's office, left 2 others wounded. Here in Chicago, a defrocked Roman Catholic priest and convicted child molester will not be headed to trial again. Prosecutors say they were forced to drop aggravated sexual abuse charges against Daniel McCormack because the accuser was no longer cooperating in that case. And 9 patients who had lung transplants at Loyola University Medical Center are part of a 20-member team joining Chicago's Hustle Up the Hancock. They're called Loyola's Lung Angels. The team, which also includes family members and medical pros, will join 4,000 participating in the Respiratory Health Association's annual Hustle Up the Hancock on Sunday. Now, that's a 94-story climb. The association expects to raise $1.1 million to promote healthy lungs and prevent lung disease. Bulls guard Derrick Rose did not play. It did not matter. Last night in the NBA, the Bulls winners over Washington, 109-104. In the Big Ten, Michigan topped Northwestern 72-63. The news, a service of FEMA and the Ad Council. When danger is imminent, will you be prepared? Now, many mobile devices can bring you critical information from local sources you trust with a unique sound and vibration. Learn more at ready.gov/alerts. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity hopes now is the time the Senate will stand up to the president.
Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, declared that he's not going to act on any Supreme Court nomination by Obama, declaring the vacancy should not be filled until after Obama leaves office. And I hope these guys hold the line. They have all the power to stop this. There's nothing that will stop them from doing it except if they get in their own way.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
B-Dubs Takeout. It's simple and easy. Call ahead or drive to your nearest location and choose from anything on the menu. Enjoy the game from your couch. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports.
Hi, I'm Lex Howard.
CEO of Balance of Nature. I occasionally take new customer calls, and often people tell me that they have been hearing our advertisements for years. What are you waiting for? Start now and begin experiencing the benefits of Balance of Nature in your life.
I'm going to tell you right now, and this is crazy. I just went to the dentist, and I had a tooth cleaning, and she's like amazed. She goes, "Your teeth are great." She goes, "I don't even need to be doing this work." And, and health-wise, heart-wise, stamina-wise, it's unbelievable. I just adore your products. I wish I could talk to everybody individually, give them my phone number and say, "If you don't believe me, call me up. I'll tell you. It's the best thing you ever did in your life."
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
637 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. South Shoreline trains are not operating this morning between Northwest Indiana and Chicago. There's blizzard damage. Metro honors South Shore tickets on the electric line. I-65 southbound lanes have reopened between 113th Avenue and near 231. There was a jackknife semi there. Still very slow going, though, in that stretch, and really everywhere south of there till at least Roselawn and DeMont due to winter conditions. Speeds are also reduced on the Indiana Toll Road and 94. Eden's inbound, 21 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose. Southbound 19 to Kennedy, 31 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Southbound 26. The Eisenhower runs 41 minutes Thorndale to the post office. Southbound 32. Stevenson, 42 minutes 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 23 minutes 95 to downtown. Traffic service of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Mothers Against Drunk Driving supports victims of drunk driving, drugged driving, and underage drinking at no charge. Call their 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, AirComfort.com, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Breezy with considerable cloudiness, more snow for northwest Indiana on top of anywhere between 10 and 14 inches that fell yesterday into the overnight. We'll top out at 38 and have a low of 25 overnight. 33 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy. So, Amy, you're going to participate in the Polar Plunge for Special Olympics, right?
I sure am. Both of my sisters are special ed teachers, and I go and speak to their students every year, and I have a niece with special needs, and it's always been just a part of what we do. We raise money, and so far, if anybody wants to help me out, you can go to specialolympics.com and pledge. It's the Jacobson, Dos, and Gladas team.
Or if you would prefer another team, you can also support them.
You know, support another team, too. That's fine. It's not about, who collects the most money.
Exactly.
Because, I'm very bad at asking people for money. But, Dan, if you want to give me money for Special Olympics Chicago, it'd be great.
No, I'm happy to do that. And
Okay.
Special Olympics is great, and you also owe me $1.
Oh,
from our Nevada bet.
I bought you donuts.
I'll include that in my donation.
right, fine.
Subtract it.
Okay.
And then you'll have to explain why to Special Olympics why you're $1 short. All right.
Will do.
Fair is fair. So this story, I mean, how we treat persons with special needs in this society, I think, is a reflection of our humanity, which is why Illinois turns out to be the most barbaric state in the union, not because of our finances and all the other things we talk about a lot on this show, but because we treat persons with special needs as less than human in Illinois by the way we do not provide services that we promise to provide. In other states,
but is that Governor Rauner's fault?
It's
that's what the Democrats are saying.
Well, right. The Democrats have been in charge for 40 years. It's everybody's fault. We're all here. I mean, it's everybody's fault, starting with the political ruling class, but it's everybody's fault. It happens on our watch, happens on my watch. There's a lot of blame to go around. Mm-hmm. So there's this story, too. Once in a while, take a break from politics and have maybe a bit of a transcendental moment because they're so few and far between. This is one of them, this story I came across. I'm not kidding. Get your Kleenex out. It's powerful stuff. Rob Scott is the father of a 7-year-old son. His a 7-year-old son named Turner. He has a 7-year-old son named Turner who has Down syndrome. And Rob Scott overheard another father telling his son at a video store in Canada, where they live, Nova Scotia, about Down syndrome. Scott was picking out a movie at this video store. A man's son that was near him selected Where Hope Grows. You seen that?
No, I haven't.
It's a film about a man with Down syndrome. The man's son next to Mr. Scott asked his father what's Down syndrome, and his father said it's an illness of not knowing anything. And Mr. Scott, the father of this 7-year-old boy with Down syndrome, didn't say anything, but then he got out to his car and realized that was a moment where he could have and should have said something. He said, I didn't think the dad was trying to be mean. I just could see he was searching for the right thing to say, and he said it was an illness, and that it was an illness of not knowing anything. It's one of these moments where you don't know how to act, and Mr. Scott went out to his car and videoed this response that he wished he had given in the video store, and that he should have given, in his words, because he let down his son.
And it's one of those moments where you don't know how to act, you don't know how to react. I didn't say anything. I'm not the type to get in, people's faces and say things about it, but I heard that voice in my head say, tell them what it is, and I didn't. And I let that ignorance grow in another generation and failed my son in the process. I don't mean to get emotional about this and be an exhibitionist about it, but I have to reset that button because I failed him in that moment. Down syndrome is literally one of the most beautiful things that's ever happened to my life. It's fun, it's brilliant, it's amazing, it's funny, it's kind, it's loving, it's cuddly, they're great teachers, people with Down syndrome. It's not an illness. It's not an illness. Just because you read slower or you don't run as fast does not mean you have a disability to me. This is what I learned from Turner. Disabilities are perception. I believe people are teachers and learners, and we're both. We have the ability to teach things, and we're here to learn things. And a well-educated man does not have more to teach than my son. He has different things to teach, but he does not have more to teach. His knowledge is not more valuable.
So he just wanted to cut that video in the moment, as he said. So I just wanted to write that publicly for myself. That Facebook video has now been viewed more than 500,000 times and shared thousands of times as well. But just kind of a nice moment.
Yeah, the Down syndrome kids that I've met are the most beautiful, God-loving, the sweetest kids. They're so innocent, and so they just want to be loved. I mean, they really do. And my sister Ginny, special ed teacher, she had Kira Bro as her bridesmaid, and I remember she made the wedding because she was so excited to be there, and she always is so happy, and she came from a really good family, and it's really good people. So that is beautiful that he said that.
Yeah, and the beauty that his son has given him. He talks about Down syndrome being a beautiful thing, the best thing's ever happened to him. Beauty begets beauty.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, breezy with considerable cloudiness, and we don't have any snow shoveling to do here in Chicago, but in northwest Indiana, Cedar Point got 15 inches of snow, so travel is a mess there. A high of 38 degrees today, and then tomorrow chilly with intervals of clouds and sunshine, highs in the mid-30s. Let's get over to northwest Indiana. Anything better Better news on the roadways, Jim Telemonte?
Well, there's better news on I-65, but it's still pretty treacherous on most secondary roads and even on 65 in areas around Crown Point, around Cedar Lake, and other communities in the region. 65 has significant delays in both directions from north of Crown Point down to at least Roselawn and DeMont due to the winter conditions. Ramps are especially slick and icy and snowy. Speeds are reduced on the Indiana Toll Road and 94 as well. There was earlier a jackknife semi on southbound 65 near Crown Point. That has cleared. South Shoreline trains are not operating this morning due to blizzard damage. Metra honors South Shore tickets on the electric line. The Edens Expressway, 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. The Kennedy, 35 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 26. The Eisenhower is 43 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 32. Stevenson, 46 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Bryan, 23 minutes. 95 to downtown. I-57, 21 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 18. Tollways are still pretty light. I'm Jim Talamonte, at ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. UPS pushing same-day package delivery. The Dallas Federal Reserve president says a recession is unlikely this year. The Senate okays a new FDA head. Those stories next.
2 little tablets is all it takes to make your thin hair feel and look thicker and fuller. Guaranteed. Viviscal is the #1 drug-free hair growth supplement in the U.S., with 1 box being sold every minute globally. It's clinically researched to promote existing hair growth for men and women. And now a 90-day supply of Viviscal is offered in your area risk-free plus free shipping. Call 800-774-4402. Viviscal nourishes thinning hair from within. You'll love your hair growth results, guaranteed. Viviscal is so effective, it's recommended by top doctors. Here's Dr. Grant Stevens, board-certified plastic surgeon.
I feel confident recommending Viviscal to women with hair loss, thinning hair, or even dry or brittle hair. It's 100% drug-free, and it's backed by years of clinical research.
Want to try Viviscal? Every listener that calls now gets a 90-day risk-free supply plus free shipping. Call now, 800-774-4402. 800-774-4402. That's 800-774-4402.
Forget overnight delivery. How about same-day delivery? That's what UPS is investing in. UPS hopes to replicate how Macy's, Kohl's, and other retailers deliver online orders the very same day they are placed. A vote of 89-4, the Republican-controlled Senate has overwhelmingly confirmed the president's nomination of Dr. Robert Califf to head the Food and Drug Administration. Robert Kaplan, the Dallas Federal Reserve president, says he doesn't expect the United States to enter into recession this year, calling for patience and some caution in the face of global economic headwinds. A judge in Manhattan has ruled New York City restaurants can be fined up to $600 for not posting salt warnings on food items on their menus. Welcome to the Big Apple. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Running a business can be challenging, especially here in Illinois. You face mountains of regulations on top of mountains of taxes and fees, not to mention new Obamacare requirements. Business owners who manage to survive and thrive deserve to be recognized, and that's exactly what we here at AM 560 The Answer are going to do. This spring, we'll be hitting the road on the AM 560 Business Tour presented by Signature Bank, where I do my business banking. It's a way for us to celebrate local businesses who are overcoming the odds and succeeding in spite of the many challenges they face. We want to give back to the business community by broadcasting this show live from various locations throughout Chicagoland. Does your business have a great success story? If so, we want to hear about it. Go to 560theanswer.com/business and fill out the brief form to tell us about how you and your business are beating the odds to serve your clients and your community. We'll select several businesses as stops on our AM 560 Business Tour, and we'll broadcast from your location to share your success with our audience. We hope to inspire other business owners and show the world that, yes, you did build that. So go to 560theanswer.com/business to tell us your story, and we will be stopping at your location this spring on the AM 560 Business Tour.
Hey, if you're a car enthusiast who appreciates the joy of driving a high-end performance car or never lost your passion for classic or modern muscle cars, you need to know about this Feed the Children business benefactor. With decades of experience, Comet Motorsports provides car lovers with the highest quality service and performance products available. And Comet can save you money on quality service for your pride and joy. Hey, if you own a late-model European performance or domestic muscle car, Comet can install performance tuning software to reprogram your car's computer to increase performance without sacrificing drivability. Comet is a complete tuning facility. Man, Comet even installs parts furnished by customers. If you have minor dents and dings, including hail damage, Comet can perform expert paintless dent repair to avoid bodywork and painting. Call Comet Motorsports in St. Charles at 630-584-5400 or visit CometMotorsports.com. That's Comet with a K.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy.
Dan, real quick, I think you're tearing up from that last story, which is good because I was biting my tongue because if I start crying today, I won't stop, and I got to stay strong today. So
if I had not had my tear ducts removed and had the capacity for human emotion, I would have cried at that story and that father's video. No,
you were crying.
It's quite something.
Yeah.
It was quite something. Great story, and I check.
Post. Can you tweet it?
I tweeted it at Dan Proft, but I can tweet it again. So people should check out the full 5 minutes plus of that father's video. Tribute to his 7-year-old son with Down syndrome.
I'll retweet it.
Yes.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll distribute it. No, people should see it. There's this story, Amy. This is interesting. Secret police. Virginia considering a bill to withhold all police officers' names.
Wait, say that one more time. I'm sorry.
The state
I was retweeting your tweet.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your social media work.
No, I was reading the Constitution.
Oh, okay. Judge Foreman will be very happy to hear that.
Thank
you. A state senator in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth, has introduced a bill that would allow police to withhold the names of police officers. This is in response in part to a reporter's attempt to learn whether problem police officers were moving from department to department. It resulted in legislation that's before the Virginia General Assembly that would allow police departments to keep Virginia police officers' names secret. Your view on that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. This is against the backdrop of a climate where police are being scrutinized like never before.
The Ferguson effect is still in place.
Body cams and think about Chicago going back and relitigating decades or even just years old cases, giving them a fresh look. The argument is that when police are being watched like they are now, the bill is needed to keep officers safe from people who may harass or harm them, because the flip side is, of course, instances of police being assassinated. Somebody sees a police officer in uniform, walks up and shoots him, as happened to that Houston deputy, as happened in New York City.
And then look at all the cases, too, when you have just allegations of police misconduct and the name gets out there. Protesters go to their house, threaten them, send death threats via letter or on their phone. I mean, they harass them. Look at Darren Wilson. I mean, officer, he's still in hiding.
But he's
still using an alias just so that his wife and newborn child are safe.
But you are a public official. It is taxpayer funds. I mean, we have lists of state employees and municipal employees, not just police and fire, but just rank and file municipal or state employees, their salaries, their start dates. All of that is public information because it's taxpayer funded.
Yeah, but those legislatures don't arrest people. And that's the thing. So there's more of an angst and more of a vindictive mode toward police officers. So if they get the name, then they'll find out the address and they'll make their life hell.
Yeah, but I
think this is a great piece of legislation.
Is it something where it should be allowed to be preemptive and comprehensive as opposed to an individual case where an officer may be targeted? Something where you don't know who the police officers are. I mean, other than you live next to one or your uncle's a police officer or whatever. In an era of transparency, this seems to be going the other way. It's interesting. Right. Russ and Barrington, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Russ.
Hey, Russ.
Hi, Don and Amy. How you guys doing?
Good.
Love your show. I've been listening to your show on the radio for a long time, and it just seems to me, I'm sensing that your on the radio relationship is changing, and I was wondering if there's a wedding announcement pending, kind of like Don and Roma.
No,
there's not.
Dan,
Russ.
do you want to let him down easy, or should I?
Thank you for the call, Russ. Oh, boy. Mike on the north side.
Did we pick out the China settings yet?
Oh, brother.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
I think we should go the other way. We should take the police officers' names off their uniforms and just put the badge number up there or some coded number, because it's too easy to track someone down. Their kids are at risk, their wives are at risk, or husbands, and there's too many nut jobs out there. You want to put a complaint in, put it in on the number, but otherwise it's too dangerous. Look at dumb Tom Dart, the sheriff. He's emptying Cook County Jail, giving him all those home monitoring ankle bracelets, and they're still going out committing crimes.
Thanks, Mike.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
You're a physician, a nurse, or in the medical field. You have a sick patient who requires a custom, non-sterile compounded medication. This is some big news. You can refer with confidence your patients to Martin Avenue Pharmacy in Naperville, the first and only compounding pharmacy in DuPage, Kane, Kendall, LaSalle, DeKalb, and Western Will County to earn the Pharmacy Compounding Accreditation Board's seal of accreditation. The first and only. Patients and medical professionals want to know their compounding pharmacy is of the highest quality and has been independently verified. PCAB offers patients and medical professionals a way to verify that their compounding pharmacy is meeting the very highest and strictest national standards. When you know the difference, it makes a difference. Martin Avenue Pharmacy in Naperville, a PCAB accredited compounding pharmacy, 630-355-6400, or go to martinavenue.com.
We make it better, like nobody else. We make it better. Martin Avenue.
Saddle up and experience a taste of the Southwest, the vacation that will stick with you for a lifetime. And for me, that vacation was my time at Ritz-Carlton Dove Mountain Resort in beautiful Tucson, Arizona. There are endless outdoor activities, tennis, horseback riding, 20 miles of hiking and biking trails that are on the property. Everywhere you look, there's breathtaking views of the Sonoran Desert because you're in the Sonoran Desert. If you're a golfer, it's the best course you can play in Arizona, according to Golf Digest. And if you like spas, it's the #3 spa in all of North America and the #1 spa in Arizona. It's perfect for a family vacation because there's a kids pool with a water slide and a kids club in case the parents want some alone time. Or you can go for a romantic getaway. 350 days of sunshine a year. And there's direct flights from O'Hare and Midway. You can fly into Phoenix or into Tucson. Special rates and packages are available right now for your spring break. So don't wait. Go to ritzcarlton.com/Dove Mountain for all the details. That's ritzcarlton.com/Dove Mountain. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It is the only way for Hillary to win to rain the fires of hell on the American people. We'll ask Joe Trippi, Democrat political consultant and Fox News contributor at 7:07.
And who has the most to lose or gain at tonight's last GOP debate before Super Tuesday? We'll take your calls. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, winter storm creates issues in the Chicago area for air travelers and for commuters in northwest Indiana. Jim Talamonte will be along in just a moment with the big problems in the northwest portion of Indiana. Charges dropped against a defrocked Catholic priest. We'll tell you why. And Bernie Sanders holding a rally in Chicago today. Shorthanded Bulls beat the Wizards and a breezy and cloudy day ahead for us. Complete look at weather after Fox News, WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. A lot of people have a lot to clean up.
The tree was totally down and took out the power line and also had landed on top of the car.
He's in North Carolina. There's death and destruction up to Pennsylvania. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
This morning, the Virginia National Guard has put soldiers on state active duty to help out after those storms ripped through that state, and the governor has declared a state of emergency. Waverly, the hardest hit, a 2-year-old and 2 men were killed there. Another man died in Appomattox County. Danny Milburn lives in Newport News.
It was quite an experience. I've lived here all my life, and I've been around hurricanes and stuff, but I've never heard a wind come up against a house like that.
Thunderstorms also moved through Pennsylvania, causing buildings to collapse and power outages. Flooding left motorists stranded in Maryland and Washington, too, Dave.
Tanya, Republicans running for president debate tonight in Houston, where Fox's Jared Halpern's live.
The Texas Senator Ted Cruz is hoping to use this Houston homecoming as a springboard, a strong debate leading to a string of successes next week.
Super Tuesday, I believe, will be the single most important day of this entire presidential election.
Cruz is likely to face attacks from delegate leading frontrunner Donald Trump, who has been painting Cruz as a liar, and Senator Marco Rubio, who's quickly becoming the establishment choice.
While we have a right to be angry, we have to do something about it.
Rubio making the argument he's the only Republican left in this field who can win in November. Dave.
Jared, a South African university has been evacuated to campus, shut indefinitely.
Students torched the Northwest University Science Center and at least one other building and a car, and some were injured by police using rubber bullets and tear gas. Some learners here are unhappy that campus management dissolved a students' council.
Fox's Paul Tilsley in Johannesburg. Their morning Sheriff's Corporal Nate Kerrigan in Bailey, Colorado.
He's jovial, good spirits, he was a nice person.
Kerrigan was killed and 2 others wounded by a man they were trying to evict from a foreclosed home. He was also killed in the shootout. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy and 30 degrees in Chicago. Winds north at 16 miles an hour. 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Northwest Indiana bore the brunt of a powerful storm that dropped as much as 15 inches of snow in spots, causing mass flight cancellations at both of Chicago's airports. The National Weather Service says the highest snow totals were in Indiana's Lake and Porter counties, where the storm dumped over a foot of snow, again up to 15 inches in spots. Authorities have declared a state of emergency in Lake and Porter counties and in Newton County as well. Emergency crews spent the night assisting drivers trapped in snowdrifts. Even plows became stuck in the hardest hit areas.
It's pretty brutal out there. We found about 30 cars stuck in the snow with people still in them.
Plow drivers are still out looking for stranded motorists. By this morning, some of the region's interstates are beginning to move at a crawl. Again, many schools are canceled. Up to 70 schools and associated events are canceled across Northwest Indiana, some just across the border in Illinois. South Shore trains between Indiana and Chicago are suspended. We'll get the latest on that with Jim Talamonte in a moment. And again, power is out in many areas, especially it is becoming a problem at railroad crossing gates with high winds recorded during the blizzard yesterday in Northwest Indiana at 61 miles an hour. A defrocked Roman Catholic priest and convicted child molester will not be headed to trial again. Prosecutors say they were forced to drop aggravated sexual abuse charges against Daniel McCormack because the accuser was no longer cooperating. Democrat presidential candidate Bernie Sanders trying to gather support today in Chicago. The Vermont senator rallying at Chicago State. He'll also be on campus at the University of Chicago with MSNBC's Chris Matthews. And in Joliet, the arrest of several gang members on drugs and weapons charges have been announced, including one who is a suspect in a 2010 shooting death of a Joliet woman. Will County State's attorney says the arrest came late yesterday as the result of an investigation involving federal and local law enforcement that's trying to deal a blow to the Latin Kings street gang. Bulls beat Washington last night 109-104. Big Ten hoops. Michigan topped Northwestern 72-63. In the Valley, Illinois State over Southern. Wichita State over Loyola 76-54. The news is a service of Think It Up and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Republican race for the White House has come down to just a handful of candidates. And tonight, beginning at 7, the remaining candidates meet for a debate just days before the Super Tuesday primaries. And the only place to hear the debate in Chicago isn't on your radio. That's right. The only place to hear the debate is on the AM 560 web stream. Listen on the AM 560 mobile app or online at 560theanswer.com/listen. This is your election station, AM 560. The Answer.
The big Home and Garden Expo that Bob Vila promotes is coming to the Tinley Park Convention Center March 5th and 6th. If you're looking to remodel your kitchen, bathroom, basement, or maybe get a new roof, flooring, windows, or a new deck, then this is the event for you. At this two-day expo, you'll meet local and national contractors displaying their products and services. Get fresh ideas, set up estimates, and talk directly with contractors, many of which are offering huge discounts. Enhance your landscaping and beautify your yard with Ted's Greenhouse, offering a wide variety variety of the finest plants in the area. Find everything you need for your home under one roof. Special announcement. Design expert Kelly Edwards of HGTV's Design on a Dime will be presenting both days, Saturday and Sunday, March 5th and 6th, from 12 to 1 p.m. and giving away cash and prizes. Don't miss the big Home and Garden Expo coming March 5th and 6th to the Tinley Park Convention Center. For more information, please visit homeshowevent.com. That's homeshowevent.com.
Uber is an app that helps you make extra money just for driving your car. And because it's totally flexible, you don't have to quit your day job to make more money, because you can drive and earn whenever you want. There are 3 simple steps to start making money. First, sign up for free on your phone. Second, answer a few questions and get approved. And third, start driving. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up today at drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a free domain with website from GoDaddy.com, starting at $1 a month. Annual purchase of website builder required. Price valid first year only. See website for details.
7:07 this morning in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte. We have states of emergency in parts of Newton and in Lake County, Indiana, and Porter County, Indiana. Jim, I'm hearing snow plows themselves overnight stuck in the snow. If the plow drivers got stuck, you know it's bad.
Yeah, a lot of cars in addition have been stuck. Ramps are really nasty condition. It's improving to a degree, but it's still really slow going on I-65, and authorities are saying don't travel unless you really have to. I-65 has severely reduced speeds from Crown Point south to the Roselawn area. It's also slower than normal on the Indiana Toll Road and I-94. We still have snowy conditions there. And South Shoreline trains are not running at all this morning because of blizzard damage. Metro allows South Shore tickets on the electric line. Illinois expressways are getting heavy too. Eden's inbound, 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 31. There's a stall at Glenview Road on the right side. Kennedy, now 38 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 30. The Eisenhower, 46 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 33. Stevenson, 48 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go from past Barrington Road to 53. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today breezy with clouds, high 38. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 25. Tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sunshine, high of 37. And a clear night, low 29. Breezy with partial sunshine Saturday, high 52. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 30 degrees at O'Hare. Next news at 7:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
You know, frankly, I think we have good reason to believe that there's a bombshell in Donald Trump's taxes, because every time he's asked about his taxes, he dodges and delays and says, well, we're working on it.
Nobody's been bringing it up except for Mitt Romney, and the reason he brings it up is that he lost in the last election and lost very badly.
By the way, for those that wonder about Donald Trump, if I go head-to-head with him in Ohio, I beat him by 18 points.
P.T. Barnum is fun to watch. But there comes a time when the clowns and the acrobats and the dancing bears, it's time to put them away.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We'll get back to the clowns and the dancing bears, but Let's take a little stroll on the other side of the aisle. Democrats, despite narrow defeats, you have the narrative reemerging that Hillary Clinton is the inevitable Democrat nominee. And, of course, the Washington Press Corps wants the Trump versus Hillary matchup, and so they're pushing that storyline. And then there's this from...
I think the people want Trump-Hillary Clinton matchup, not the press. But
oh, the press doesn't? The Washington Press Corps, they're not pushing that?
It's like the Super Bowl. You want two hot teams from each division to play each other because you'll get the most advertising revenue.
Yeah, the wall-to-wall coverage of Trump and, of course, and the disposition of the Washington Press Corps, which votes for the Democrat presidential nominee somewhere between 84 and 92% of that universe since 1960. No. They don't want that matchup.
All right.
Okay.
I know better than to debate the ultimate debater.
Well, Ben Smith in BuzzFeed has an interesting piece. The only strategy for Hillary Clinton is to scorch the earth. Scorch the earth. In reality, he writes, nobody is excited about Hillary Clinton, and young voters, women and men, the foot soldiers of any Democrat Party movement, aren't coming around. There was this fantasy where women in their 20s and 30s and 40s would rally to her the way that black Americans rallied to President Obama. She would run on her own mantle of change. That ain't happening. Paul Begala, a Clintonista from way back, who is an advisor to the Hillary Super PAC Priorities USA, he said, this is Paul Begala saying it, not some, member of the vast right-wing conspiracy like me. The slogan is, be afraid, be very afraid. She's going to have to do something on the order of what President Obama did in 2012, which is to make her opponent box office poison because she is so listless and unpopular, frankly. That's at least the view of people on the left, even Hillary allies like Begala. That's essentially what he's saying. Isn't it, Joe Trippi, who joins us now? Joe Trippi, longtime Democrat political operative and Fox News Channel analyst. Joe, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Dan and Amy. Good to be with you guys. To answer your question, look, one, my guess is that, yes, it's true. It's going to be, I think this is going to be one of the most negative campaigns in history, probably on both sides, but certainly so. I mean, you look at the negatives of everybody, and hers are high, so I'm not trying to get around that. I'm just saying that, whether it's Trump, or whoever on the other side, it's going to be high negatives. It's kind of reminiscent to me of 1988 when George Herbert Walker Bush was trying to extend the two Reagan terms, which no matter what, that's what a Democrat would be doing, no matter how different even if it's Bernie Sanders, people are going to look at it as there's been two. Obama's got two terms, and Democrats are going for a third. You had Willie Horton. You had everything under the sun flying in that election.
The burning the American flag. Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, I think it's going to be that kind. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying it's her or the Republicans, or it was George Bush's fault back in '88 for doing it. I'm just saying that's the kind of vitriol I think we're going to see in this one from on both sides by the time it's over.
Well, to your point, if it is Hillary versus Trump and it's just those two, this from a Salon.com piece earlier in the week by H.A. Goodman arguing that Hillary can't win. This is interesting. But the statistic that is just startling, I don't think we've ever had this in American history, but you may know better than I do. 67% of American voters find Hillary Clinton not honest and trustworthy. 59% find Donald Trump not honest and trustworthy. That is a very small percentage of people in this country who find either one of them palatable.
Well, no, and that gets to that point. Everybody thinks there's a big advantage there, for for Trump or whoever's on the Republican side. I don't think so. I think by the time we get, we're not to the nomination yet. By the time we get there, my guess is, his numbers on some of these questions will reach hers, and so you're right. At that point, you're getting to, relatively small numbers, but of people that are going to rank their choice for president based on that. And I think in the end, that defaults. You see today, people, like only 20% are going for, to say that they want somebody who's electable on the Republican side. if they want somebody who's electable, they're all going for Rubio. It's like something like of the 20%, 53% of them are going for Rubio, and like just teens for Trump and anybody else. If you're angry and want somebody to reflect that, Trump's killing everybody. The question is, okay, so now that we get, some of these attributes where they're tied on how negative everybody feels about him, what does it come down to at that point? Does it come down to, well, she has experience, or no, I want somebody who hasn't ever been in there, in which case that starts to be the tiebreaker. And Trump, I think, I'm one of these, the Democrats, I'm not with everybody about wanting to face Trump. I'd much rather face Cruz. Mm-hmm. You know what he is. He's got sort of a very thin coalition that I think he might be able to expand out a little bit, but I think it would be easier to defeat. I think Trump, the whole GOP underestimated him. He's completely unpredictable. He can reach outside and beyond sort of traditional Republican coalition. There's parts of it he can't, of the traditional Republican coalition he doesn't do well in, but he expands outside of it. I could see blue-collar Democrats being attracted.
Yeah, we had one on earlier today. Yeah. Union member, 25-year Democratic voter, decided, you know what, this time I'm going for Trump.
Right. Well, so he worries me. I mean, I'm actually more worried about him than most Democrats.
Well, and here's the thing, and this is sometimes people in our realm forget. There are a lot more people in America that you just described, Amy, than there are conservative intellectuals writing in National Review in red state.
Exactly.
So, Joe Trippi, I wanted to ask you about the personal relationship. What do you know about the relationship between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump? I know that their daughters are friends, and they're planning on having a play date with their newborn babies after this election's over.
Boy.
Well, that's what they said. But how good of friends are these two? And is it still a crazy possibility that Donald Trump is a Democratic plant?
Well, first of all, I don't have any deep insight into their relationship, how they actually get along. I can tell you from my personal experience with Trump, because I've been in the same places with him and been in meetings with him, that he's not this guy that you see on out there. He's not a vitriolic, mean guy when you're meeting with him at all. I mean, he's very friendly with people that are absolutely the opposite of him on the dial. In other words, he's one of these guys who can sit there, negotiate, talk to you, and put all the bile over, at the side of the room, and then go out and fight another day the next day, but try to make, So my guess is it's probably a cordial relationship. I really don't think that there's a lot of negativity there, even if they violently disagree on issues. He's just not. My experience has not been that's for all that we'll try to make him appear that way. If he's the nominee, I'm going to go on the record right now as saying I've never experienced that or seen it at all.
We're talking to Joe Trippi, a longtime Democrat political consultant and Fox News Channel political analyst. Joe, I wonder what you would recommend for Rubio and/or Cruz as a consultant. I mean, I know putting your hat on to help Republicans, not your bailiwick, but you just said you don't want to face Trump. You may rather face Cruz. So what should they do? It seems to me this idea of continuing to argue about the field needs to winnow. I mean, 5 is not that big. And, if it just gets down to 1 or just gets down to 1-on-1 or just gets down to 3 candidates, then the dynamics of the race materially change, and all of a sudden a Rubio or a Cruz can win and Trump can be stopped and so on and so forth. It seems to me making these kind of operative arguments as a candidate is just a little bit of tone deafness. It's not the basis on which people are making decisions in these primaries and caucuses. Do you agree with that? And if you do, what would you suggest for a Cruz or Rubio to try and tackle Trump?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that, Dan. And look, I think that's part of the problem here, though, because people like me. I mean, I've sat in the room, with other consultants and people who I really respect in politics, and we have sat around going, what could any of these guys do? And there isn't an obvious answer to that. I suspect if there was, one of them would be doing it. The problem you've hit it though, nail on the head. We started with 17 candidates. Most of them worried about each other and elbowed each other and attacked each other and left Donald Trump, sort of rolling. And now he's got it down. There's only 4 of them left, and they're still doing it. They're still, Cruz is still going after Rubio. Rubio's still going after Cruz, and they're both everybody's talking about, why don't you get out of the way, which is what we've been doing. It's been musical chairs the entire way. So I agree with you. I think I think they may have let it go too long, and now the problem is, they're sort of waking up and starting to shift, and now that the problem is, where do any of them win? I mean, that's the real problem now. Even if one of them hit on a strategy that could work, you look at this calendar and how fast the states are, coming down the track at you. And, you've got, it's like Rubio's got to wait till Florida on the 15th of March. Cruz has to wait till Texas. And Kasich has to wait till Ohio. And there's nothing really in between, unless you're counting on a Trump stumble, which, everybody said, wow, he's, how many times has he stumbled and nothing happened? So just because Cruz and Rubio think he stumbled doesn't mean, he has, and I haven't seen one yet. So there's not one that's cost him. So it's one, they got to put him in the crosshairs, and at this point, and it probably won't work, but that's got better shot than what they've been doing.
Yeah. All right, Joe Trippi, longtime Democrat political consultant. Trippi.co is his website, and you can also catch his analysis on Fox News Channel. Joe, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Last night, everyone was begging for a one-on-one fight with Donald Trump over there on Fox News. But first, here's your forecast. It's going to be breezy, considerable cloudiness, nothing like yesterday, and O'Hare and Midway are playing catch-up today. A high of 38 degrees, and tomorrow chilly with intervals of clouds and sun, a high in the mid-30s. Let's get the travel times. Anything clearing up on the roadways in northwest Indiana? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Things are gradually improving, but there's still a lot of vehicles stuck here and there, spin-outs on ramps, and even on interstates. I-65 has severely reduced speeds in both directions between Crown Point and Roselawn. Speeds are also reduced on the Indiana Toll Road at 94. South Shoreline trains are not running at all this morning due to blizzard damage, utility-type stuff. Metro honors South Shore tickets on the electric line. Chicago expressways are getting heavier. The Edens inbound is 23 minutes late Cook to Montrose, but outbound 37, it's slow out to Glenview Road with a stall on the right side. The Kennedy now 45 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 30. The Eisenhower, 48 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 36. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Ramps at I-57 and I-80, really icy. Salt trucks are on the way. Eastbound Adams Tollway, really slow going. Barrington Road to Meacham, where there's a crash in the right lane. I'm Jim Talamonte, the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
ChicagoRadioDeals.com wants you to take some time for yourself to renew, recharge, and here's a perfect way to lower your stress level and bring balance to your life. Make a visit to the Primal Ocean Salt Cave in LaGrange. Your stress begins to disappear when you step into the pink Himalayan salt cave or float on a bed of water that envelops you in color and warmth. Make time for deep relaxation in the aqua massage bed or feel renewed with the Ionic Detox Foot Bath. Experience it all now with packages that include one salt cave session plus either one aqua massage or aqua escape session or Ionic Detox Foot Bath. Got that? These stress relief packages, normally $65 to $70, only $40 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Primal Ocean Salt Cave Spa treatments are a great way to take a vacation from the everyday. Plus, you can stay fully clothed and dry the entire time. You'll love how calm and refreshed you'll feel. So if you haven't tried this yet, do it now. The Primal Ocean Salt Cave deals are very limited. So for more healthy deals, just visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. So you get yourself one of those blood tests with all the poking and prodding. They're always looking for some kind of bad news. Most blood tests these days are very lacking, only screening you for the big, bad, and ugly diseases, and with you never really getting the good news, or even knowing what to do with the not-so-good news. So let me tell you about our dirt-cheap comprehensive blood test. First of all, we'll be testing a wide variety of different health factors, and not just the ugly few. And then we're going to sit down with you and strategize with all that we learned from your blood test findings. And I promise that you're going to know more about what you can do to help improve your health using a more natural, common sense approach. And for over 33 years, we've been very successful at setting people free from their toxic medications. It's our dirt cheap comprehensive blood test. Call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. That's 800-794-1855. Be sure to tune into Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
Congratulations to all who took the Balance of Nature New Year's Challenge. Success stories are pouring in. So many people have been helped through this incentive that I have asked Balance of Nature to continue this challenge for as long as possible.
I do feel slightly better. I can't explain it. It's like underlying. I can't explain it. I broke my leg twice, my left leg, and it used to bother me, but now it's not bothering me that much. I mean, you know, I also bowl on Friday nights, and it used to kill me, but now I find that I could do that and without being in any discomfort.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Governor John Kasich last night throwing it down said that he will beat Donald Trump. See, all these candidates last night were on Megyn Kelly. Donald Trump wasn't there because he had a prior engagement. But, you know, everybody, Ted Cruz and Ben Carson.
He and Megyn Kelly.
They don't get along, right?
Friends.
But they said that he had a prior engagement. But Ted Cruz, Ben Carson were in studio. Kasich, Rubio did satellite remote interviews, and Kasich thinks he's going to win Ohio.
By the way, for those that wonder about Donald Trump, if I go head-to-head with him in Ohio, I beat him by 18 points.
Booyah. He beats him by 18 points. Is there any truth to that?
And I don't know, but I know if the field is the same right now, the polling has Donald Trump up 6 on John Kasich. So shouldn't John Kasich be able to beat Donald Trump, whether it's a one-on-one or whether it's a field of 5 candidates? John Kasich's support is contingent on Donald Trump, on the rest of the candidates being out. So how deep is John Kasich's support in his home state?
And that's what everyone was focusing on yesterday, narrowing the field to try to pit just one Republican establishment candidate against Donald Trump.
Yeah, and that is the talk of people who are going to lose.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you had questions about purchasing a home, you called me and I helped you. When you and your parents had questions about reverse mortgages, you called me and I helped you. When you needed help refinancing to lower your mortgage payments so you could afford the home after your spouse passed away, you called me and I helped you. If you'd like to talk to me about a mortgage, give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email me, David at pearldavid.com. That's David at PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA, NMLS 19186, pearlmortgage.com, licensing.
Hey, you want to get away and have some fun? Because we put fun in Republican Party. That's right, Dan and Amy heading south to Mexico. We're going to Los Cabos, Mexico, April 2nd through April 9th. Our trip is presented by Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates and by Artistic Dentistry. Now, the Apple Vacations price has expired, but there's still some limited availability. So if you want to join us in Cabo, just do it. Go online and see the resort for yourself. It's the Secrets Puerto Los Cabos Golf and Spa Resort, adults only. all-inclusive, all suites. It opened a few years ago. This place is, the rooms are well appointed, and it has all the amenities. 8 restaurants with award-winning chefs at the helm, 4 bars, unlimited premium drinks, 24-hour-a-day room service. You know the deal. There's sparkling pools and miles of pristine beaches and golf on the property, 2 9-hole golf courses to take advantage of some golf and get out and enjoy. So to book your trip, you have to visit 560theanswer.com, keyword escape. That's 560theanswer.com, keyword escape. Well, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Mitt Romney's non-bombshell.
Oh, stop it. We'll take your phone calls. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Clouds and 32 gusty winds this morning for the kiddos getting off the bus or headed to school. 60 miles an hour out of the north gives us a wind chill of 18 above. Northwest Indiana bore the brunt of that powerful storm, a blizzard there that left as much as 15 inches of heavy packed snow behind, causing mass flight cancellations here at Chicago's airports. But in Northwest Indiana, states of emergency have been declared in the hardest hit areas.
For over an hour and a half, we were sitting there, and we had no idea what was going on even.
By this morning, some of the region's interstates, 65 and 8094, moving at a crawl. Many schools are canceled. South Shore trains between Indiana and Chicago suspended because the storm knocked out power to many railroad crossing gates. Highest recorded wind gust, 60 miles an hour. Tonight's Republican presidential debate in Houston represents the best chance for Donald Trump's rivals to try and derail his progress before Super Tuesday. Marco Rubio on Fox last night saying he's now open to diverting some offenders away from the justice system to prevent them from carrying the stigma of being in the system.
But when it comes to violent and dangerous criminals and drug dealers, I support minimum mandatory sentences because it has worked in reducing the crime rate in America over the last 25 years.
Virginia National Guard alerting soldiers to go on state active duty to provide assistance after storms tore through that state, spawning at least 1 tornado, injuring dozens and killing 4. Protesting students in South Africa have burned down several buildings at a Northwest university, forcing administrators there to entirely close the campus and tell students to leave. Violence comes as student protests have erupted on college campuses across South Africa. Governor Rauner says he's now open to finding new ways to fund Illinois state universities and colleges dealing with the budget crisis. State Representative Ken Duncan has introduced a bill that would send roughly $200 million to those struggling schools. And Tom Ricketts says it's pretty surreal when Donald Trump threatens your mom. Cubs chairman spoke to the media yesterday for the first time since the GOP presidential candidate accused the Ricketts family of secretly spending against him.
But, the fact is, whether it's my mom or my dad on his ending spending stuff, or my sister on marriage equality, or my brothers, what they do, or what we do with the team, we're pretty much an open book. I mean, we stand up for what we believe in.
Trump had warned on Twitter the Ricketts had better be careful because they had something to hide. Chicago sports, Bulls over Washington 109-104 last night. Derrick Rose did not play. Taj Gibson led the club, along with Etuan Moore with 17. The news service of Unbound, there's a girl in El Salvador who dreams of becoming an engineer. There's an elder in Uganda who dreams of having a community to call his own. No two dreams are the same. Help people achieve theirs at unbound.org. 7:34, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
America right now is better off than it's ever been. Man, if I thought that, I wouldn't fight.
The Joe Walsh Show.
52% of young people would do away with the First Amendment. We have people being fined and threatened with jail time for exercising their religious freedom. Yes, I am a pessimist, but that's why I fight.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Through Wheaton's modular MA in intercultural studies, you'll train with their globally connected community on the latest methods for careers in cross-cultural ministry. Apply by March 15th at wheaton.edu/crosscultural.
Hey, this is Joe Walsh, excited to tell you about Chicagoland's finest gun shop and indoor shooting range. I'm talking about Maxon Shooters Supplies and Indoor Range, just north of O'Hare in Des Plaines. Maxon is Chicagoland's first NSSF 5-star facility and one of only 70 nationwide. Hey, protecting your family and Second Amendment rights are real important. That's why Maxon Shooters Supplies is focused on safety, proficiency, education, and takes real pride in providing the area's highest quality facility to hone your skills on one of their 20 handgun, rifle, and shotgun stations. Maxon has the classes you need, including Illinois Concealed Carry and 2 on-staff gunsmiths for all your repair and customization needs. Maxon is easy to reach in Des Plaines, just off of I-90 and Mount Prospect Road. For information or directions, call 847-298-4867 or visit MaxonShooters.com. That's MAXON Shooters.com. Maxon Shooters, Supplies and Indoor Range. Christmas and the New Year are over. It's time to think a little about yourself. Maybe treat yourself to a MyPillow. I'm Joe Walsh, and I have slept better for years with MyPillow. If you've procrastinated, don't put it off. MyPillow is a premium pillow with 4 different loft levels that's customized to your individual preference. And for my listeners who use the promo code Joe, you'll get 2 MyPillows for the price of 1. It's MyPillow's best offer. It's so important. Get a great night's sleep. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, and allergies. Plus, it's washable, keeps its shape, and gives you support where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For this 2 for the price of 1 offer, visit MyPillow.com or call 1-800-489-0201 and use that promo code Joe. Do it now, 1-800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code Joe, 1-800-489-0201.
7:37 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get the very latest now with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Roads are still snowy and slippery in northwest Indiana. Speeds are severely reduced on I-65 south of Crown Point. It's also slow going on 94, 8094, the Indiana Toll Road, and South Shoreline service, as Mike mentioned, is shut down this morning. Eden's inbound, 22 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 32. The Kennedy, 51 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 30. Eisenhower, 54 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 39. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40 minutes. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go Higgins to Meacham after a crash. Ramps at I-57 and I-80 are icy. Salt trucks are there. Traffic service of the Foundation for a Better Life. Mr. Rogers passed along friendship, hoping we would too. Friendship, pass it on. The Foundation for a Better Life, values.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, AirComfort.com, 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Breezy and considerably cloudy, a high of 38 today. Clouds and 25 overnight. Currently 30 at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 8 with Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy, continuing next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Fox River Periodontics, Chicagoland specialist with dental implants. To get your smile back, visit implantsforme.com.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And boy.
Yes, I love this.
I haven't heard from Mitt Romney in a while. Now he is presenting himself, not since, really, for the most part, not since he decided not to run this cycle.
Yeah, he's been laying low like J-Lo, they say.
They say if the year was 2005.
Yeah.
They don't say that anymore.
No.
But
he's new. He's Trump's new enemy now, huh?
Yeah,
he's the antagonist in this new soap opera skit we have going.
Could there be anything more silly than Mitt Romney trying to out Donald Trump? But that's essentially what he's doing.
Yeah, he went on with Neil Cavuto yesterday and demanded that Trump release his tax returns. Mitt Romney had to do so during, when he was in his fight with Obama because, Obama tried to vilify Romney because he made so much money and that was a bad thing. But
well, first of all, point out, he did vilify. He did successfully vilify Mitt Romney because Mitt Romney was an apologist for Mitt Romney and an apologist for the Republican Party. Like, hi, I'm Mitt Romney. I apologize for making money. Hi, I'm Mitt Romney. I'm a Republican. I apologize. Rather than the unapologetic street fighter that Donald Trump is, frankly. I have said, and I will say to my dying day, Trump is the wrong vehicle for this frustration and anger that people rightly feel. This is not denigrating Trump supporters. But the Mitt Romney kicked away that race in 2012. So you want to understand where some of that anger and frustration comes from? It comes from cake eaters like Mitt Romney and their milquetoast rap that may work in Massachusetts but doesn't work against the attack machine of the left, and he proved that in 2012.
Well, let's talk about that anger. Mitt Romney tried to explain to Neil Cavuto what is going on in society these days, why voters and Republicans in particular are so angry.
Well, I think they feel that the political class has been fiddling and diddling and not doing what's necessary to create more jobs, to fix our schools, to keep foreign imports from taking away American jobs, to secure the border. There are a whole host of things people are concerned about, and they've heard politicians make promises on these topics for years and years and years, and no progress is being made. And along come a couple of guys who say, "Hey, look, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna, if you will, kick over the table," as Newt Gingrich said. I'm gonna go to Washington and blow things up.
Mm-hmm. There's your anger.
Are
you moved at all by this
That's part
analysis?
of it, but he's missing another important part. The other part of it is compromise of principles, the indistinguishable nature of Republicans and Democrats on so many issues. Like, for example, since Mitt Romney's talking Obamacare, since he liked it when he was the governor of Massachusetts, before he didn't like it as a presidential candidate. But this is compromise in D.C. This is, Malcolm Wallop, 1992, former conservative senator from Wyoming, when he left in advance of the Gingrich Revolution, one of my favorite stories, because 25 years later we have the same culture. And this is fundamentally the problem. You're not presenting distinct choices. And frankly, I don't think Trump does either. It's all swagger. It's not substance. But Malcolm Wallop said, here's the problem in D.C. The problem in D.C. is if Democrats introduce a bill to burn down the U.S. Capitol, Republicans would compromise and agree to phase in over 3 years. And that's essentially it.
That's a great note.
And compromise is value neutral. Negotiation is value neutral. The outcome matters. And when you're always compromising and negotiating to advance the left's flag, and it turns out those public policy choices are disastrous, then at some point enough people who play by the rules, who did everything they were told to do, and now are being blamed as the problem in America, at some point they revolt. You never know when that revolt's going to happen. I've been waiting for it in Illinois for a long time, but it's happening nationally.
Well, and Mitt Romney is trying to do something that Donald Trump has done to others, and that's plant seeds. For example, Ben Carson being a Seventh-day Adventist. I don't know if he is, maybe he is. I don't know. You'll have to decide. I'll have to look into it. Or say Marco Rubio is ineligible. I mean, Donald Trump is now having the tables turned on him because Mitt Romney, in a bombastic way, using the B word, bombshell, is demanding to see Donald Trump's tax returns.
Frankly, I think we have good reason to believe that there's a bombshell in Donald Trump's taxes.
What do you mean?
Well, I think there's something there. Either he's not anywhere near as wealthy as he says he is, or he hasn't been paying the kind of taxes we would expect him to pay, or perhaps he hasn't been giving money to the vets or to the disabled like he's been telling us he's been doing. And I think that's the reason that I think that there's a bombshell in there is because every time he's asked about his taxes, he dodges and delays and says, well, we're working on it.
And in his defense, Donald Trump called into Anderson Cooper on CNN last night to give his response.
My returns are extremely complex, and I'll make a determination at the right time. I'm in no rush to do it. Nobody's been bringing it up except for Mitt Romney, and the reason he brings it up is that he lost in the last election and lost very badly. So,
no, I think the reason he brings it up is because why not full disclosure? I mean, usually people hide stuff when there's something they don't want you to see.
First of all, not disclosing them yet is not the same thing as hiding. I mean, if the tax returns ultimately are delivered, which I suspect they will be. I mean, don't forget, this is a guy who went through his assets and liabilities balance sheet at his presidential campaign announcement So, I mean, this guy likes to brag about his wealth and likes to present documentation. I suspect at some point he will. But the other thing is Mitt Romney is doing this because he doesn't want Trump to be the nominee. So they're trotting Mitt Romney out there to raise these questions because Mitt Romney is seen as a person of integrity. I think he is a person of political integrity, even though he's an inept politician, at least as a national candidate. But to ask these questions that Mitt Romney doesn't know the answers to insinuate things he can't substantiate, that to me smacks of desperation. That even if there is something, even if Donald Trump isn't worth $10 billion, like he says, he's worth $1 billion. He's worth $3 billion. What does it matter if Donald
Trump? It
Trump
just shows if he's a liar, and he.
Please,
I know that he can't do anything
matter.
wrong. People will still be, their loyalties lie with Donald Trump, but it matters to me.
Oh, yeah, well,
it matters to a lot of people who don't like Donald Trump.
Right.
How big of a liar is this? How big of a joke is this scam that's going on?
It matters to people who are already not voting for Donald Trump, like you.
I don't know. I just think that there's something behind this, and I think it started out as a reality TV show premise, and now it's involved to him becoming possibly the president of the United States.
People want to believe there's something there, so they believe there's something there. I like to see the evidence. So, yeah, Donald Trump should release his tax returns like every candidate should, and then we'll see. And if Mitt Romney's suppositions don't have any basis, well, Mitt Romney's really taken a lark.
Then he'll have egg on his face, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. One of the
But I think he's smarter than that. I think he knows something that we don't know about Donald Trump.
Really? He knows something about Donald Trump's tax returns that
well, I think
we
that
don't
Donald
know.
Trump might not be donating to the Wounded Warrior Project as he says that he has over the years.
Uh-huh.
That should be public record. That should be public knowledge, don't you think?
Well, you can also donate and not take the tax benefits. So
and taking advantage of some tax loopholes that you deem as bad and
yeah.
that
So
you're
we're
taking
gonna-
advantage of.
Right, we're going to try
kind
and
of like what Hillary's doing too.
We're going to try and play the left's game.
Yeah.
Though Warren Buffett pays a lower marginal rate than his secretary. You think that's going to work in a Republican primary? I mean, this is desperation because unfortunately Cruz and Rubio have been largely neutered by Donald Trump. Let's go to Sean in Homewood. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Amy and Dan. Hey, Romney is making suppositions similar to those made by Harry Reid 4 years ago.
That's right.
When Romney was running for president.
That's exactly right. Thanks for the call,
Yeah,
Sean.
thanks.
David French has a great piece in National Review on this. He writes, Democrats transformed Mitt Romney, a generous, successful businessman with a long record of good works, into a greedy plutocrat so depraved that he basically killed a woman. He was worse than Gordon Gekko. They took one of his core strengths, an extraordinary business career, turned it into his chief liability. His resume, which helped him win the GOP nomination, became his indictment. Now what Mitt Romney is trying to do, the same to Donald Trump. Unfortunately for Mitt Romney, the left is much more successful at doing that than is Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney couldn't even defend himself, much less could he undermine Donald Trump. Steve in Hinsdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, all estimates indicate the net worth of Donald Trump is $4.5 billion, not $10 billion. And by the way,
Whatever.
Michael Bloomberg. Well, no, you're double it. It's not 10, it's 4.5. By the way, Michael Bloomberg's net worth is also estimated at $45 billion. Here is my free advice to the media elite, is don't spend too much time with Mitt Romney. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thanks for the call, Steve. Yeah, I mean, you think people, 4.5, 8 point, people care
Billion.
less, could care
Billion.
less. Chip in Geneva.
All that Mitt Romney's doing is proving that the Republican establishment still doesn't get it. They don't want to get it. They don't want to understand what they've done and how upset people are in this country at the false promises over the last 8 years or 12 years from the Republicans. Hey, Trump's going to get it. Trump's going to win, and we're going to change this country around, and we're tired of being losers.
Thanks for the call, Chip. Drago on the south side. I must break you. Drago.
Yes, I just wanted to say, first of all, Donald Trump is not my horse in the race, but I could care less about his taxes. He made the money in the private sector as a businessman, but I do care about taxes, about these dirty politicians that made money through the kickbacks and the sweetheart deals that they're making with other politicians.
Thank you,
That's
Drago.
all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You will lose. I must break you.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
More of your phone calls coming up. 312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. And here's the answer for the weather department, whether or not it's going to snow in the next few days. And the answer is no. We're going to have breezy, considerable cloudiness today, high of 38 degrees. And then tomorrow, chilly with intervals of clouds and sunshine, highs in the mid-30s. Let's see how they're digging out in Northwest Indiana and how are the roadways there. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Still snowy, Amy and Dan. Speeds are reduced on the Indiana Toll Road at 94, and it's especially snowy and treacherous south of Crown Point on 65, and some of the secondary roads remain pretty much impassable. There are stranded vehicles in the region. South Shoreline trains are not operating at all this morning to blizzard-related damage. Wadsworth, expect delays on 173 at the Tri-State due to traffic signal issues. Eden's outbound slow, Montrose to Dempster. It's 32 minutes, Montrose to Lake Cook. Inbound is 21. The Kennedy is now an hour from O'Hare to downtown. Express lane save you 10 minutes. Outbound 31 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 39 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 7 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 40 minutes. The Ryan, 25 minutes. 95th to downtown. Eastbound Adams Tollway stop and go Bartlett Road to Meacham after an earlier crash. The other tollways are lighter than normal. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
A beauty day to play 18, huh, Dale? 80 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. The forecast looks great for the next 3 days, too. Looks like we'll just schedule 3 more courses this week.
You've been pretty lucky that you've been able to spend some quality time in the sun. Something that you may not be so lucky with is the fact that 1 in 5 people will develop skin cancer in their lifetime. At Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, they know that most people are unaware of the effects that a lifetime of sun can have on their skin. If you've been sunburned in your lifetime, it's time to have your skin checked out. Call Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates at 855-560-SKIN. or visit skinhealthpros.com. The doctors at Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates have your skin health covered. Skin cancer kills, so today's the day to get your skin checked. Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, 855-560-SKIN. or visit skinhealthpros.com. Healthy skin, healthy body, healthy, happy you.
7-Eleven now has these amazing new breakfast melts, and they're only $2.99. Take it.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Our announcer decided to try the product. He was trying to explain 7-Eleven has 2 new melts that are toasted in-store, a bacon, egg, and cheese, and a sausage, bacon, and cheese. Both with thick-cut hickory-smoked bacon and aged cheddar cheese served on an artisan ciabatta roll for only $2.99.
Only 7-Eleven.
Yeah, only at 7-Eleven.
Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois needs your guns. Get top dollar for your antique and modern firearms and military souvenirs by consigning them to Donley Auctions. Donley Auctions are federally licensed firearms dealers, and if you're unable to come to them, they will be happy to come to you and pick them up. Their next gun auction is this Saturday, February 27th. For more information, call 815-923-7000 or go to DonleyAuctions.com. Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we're talking about President-elect Trump and some of the attacks he's under from conservative intellectuals and former GOP nominee Mitt Romney. Let's go to Larry in Palatine. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, this is Larry Roca, and thanks for taking my call. The distinction I want to make is I understand that it appears that Romney's doing to Trump what Reid did to Romney. But there's a slight difference. But the main thing is that Romney is doing to Trump what Trump does to everyone else. Sowed seeds of doubt and saying, well, listen, there may not be anything there, but we need to look into it.
That's what he's trying to do. That's right. Thanks for the call, Larry.
Yeah.
Chris in Des Plaines.
Morning. Thanks for taking the call. You know, for as long as I've been voting, I have heard time and time again from the left how the Republican Party is the party of the low-information voter, of the racist, of the bigot, of the xenophobe. I'm actually kind of glad that Trump's in the lead because when the party fractures after this election cycle, conservatives will be able to distance themselves from those folks and say, you know what, we've had a bit of a party purge. This is what the Republican Party actually looks like now.
Thanks, Chris. Mike on 294.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm after that caller. I'd like to challenge the notion that compromise is the root of evil in Washington. The alternative to compromise is gridlock. And gridlock is fine if you're a baby boomer. You've been able to enjoy low taxes and not take a haircut on your retirement benefits and inflate your standard of living at the expense of the host generation.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. And now, a moment of objectivism with Yaron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
Ask almost anybody about Social Security and Medicare, and they'll tell you, I earn my Social Security benefits. I earn my Medicare. But the truth is, you haven't earned your Social Security check. These programs don't save or invest what you put in. The government taxes you when you were young and doles out your hard-earned money to pay for retirement and medical expenses of the old today. When you retire, your benefits will be taken from the working youth. Social Security and Medicare are giant welfare programs that force retired Americans and the working young to participate. It adds insult to injury to call them earned benefits. You can't earn a right to have others support you. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
Got a text message here from 708. Compromise is what Trump has said he will do. Cruz will not. Hey, if you want to spend your money here in America and not get the Zika virus, may I suggest going to the Ritz-Carlton Dove Mountain Resort? It's located 40 minutes outside of Tucson, Arizona. It has endless outdoor activities, tennis, horseback riding, 20 miles of hiking, biking trails that are on property. And everywhere you look, there are breathtaking, really stunning views of the Sonoran Desert. Why? Because the resort is surrounded by 5 different mountain ranges. If you're a golfer, it's the best course you can play in Arizona, according to Golf Digest. If you'd like to relax in a spa, it's the number 3 spa in all of North America and the number 1 spa in Arizona. It has its own infinity pools and adults-only cabanas. It's perfect for a family vacation. There's a water slide, a kids club, or a romantic getaway for 2. Direct flights from O'Hare and Midway. You can fly into Phoenix or into Tucson. And there's 350 days of sunshine a year. It's really a vacation that you'll keep with you always. Special rates and packages are available for spring break. So visit ritzcarlton.com/Dove Mountain for all the details. That's ritzcarlton.com/Dove Mountain.
Are you retirement ready? The start of 2016 was the worst start ever on Wall Street. Listen to Grow My Retirement Saturday at 2 p.m. with Bill Geiger, Chicago's retirement planning advisor, and learn the secrets Wall Street doesn't want you to know about retirement. Bill helps you understand tough retirement issues and the steps to help you create a retirement income you can't outlive, no matter the market conditions. Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger, Chicago's retirement planning advisor, Saturday at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We talked to James Taranto from the Wall Street Journal editorial board about the presidential race, and will the president pick a Republican governor for the Supreme Court?
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, a winter storm creates havoc in northwest Indiana. We'll have an update on that story.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It's like this from parts of Pennsylvania to North Carolina.
It's basically my living room, my kitchen. Pretty much looks destroyed.
We're doing weather here?
No, just a tease.
Oh, okay.
For tomorrow. So we have the GOP debate. It's the last GOP debate before Super Tuesday.
Yeah. So.
Who stepped in it? Can anybody take down Trump? What if Trump fails miserably tonight? Will it even matter, really? He sounded like a crazy man yesterday comparing Hillary Clinton to a marshmallow.
Okay.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Did the debate alter Trump's inevitability?
We're back at 5 a.m. Okay. And then I could say, yeah, all right. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Did the GOP debate alter Donald Trump's inevitability?
We'll have the answer beginning at 5 a.m. 560. The answer. Not our
do that
best
again?
work, but I'm going to.
I just do it again.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. Let me just get rid of this. Okay. All right. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. It's the last GOP debate before Super Tuesday.
Did it alter Donald Trump's inevitability?
We're back at 5 a.m. 560. The answer. All right, now I got to cut a weather. Okay, it's in. Here's your forecast for today. Breezy with considerable cloudiness, a high near 38
Posting a $580
degrees.
million net loss.
Here's your forecast for today. Breezy with considerable cloudiness, a high near 38 degrees. And then tomorrow with... Here's your forecast for today. Breezy with considerable cloudiness, a high of 38 degrees. And tomorrow we'll have chilly conditions with mostly sunny skies, a high near 37. Let's see where the cars are. And here's Jim Telemonte. Okay, weather's there.
High school student posting a threat on Twitter this week, responding to taunts he received over his shoes. Chicago sports, Bulls over Washington 109-104. The news service of Lead Safe America. Do you live in an historic home? Renovating? Your children could be at risk. It takes just a microscopic amount of lead dust to poison a child. Learn more at leadsafeamerica.org. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network, a service of Turnkey.pro, here's Lillian Wu.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks are looking to open higher on Wall Street this morning. A closely watched survey shows German consumer confidence on the rise, despite concerns over the migrant crisis and terrorism threats. A video reportedly made by supporters of the Islamic State, makes direct threats against Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey for combating terrorism on their internet platforms. Domino's Pizza's fourth quarter earnings topping expectations. The net income, $62.8 million. Campbell's Soup also serving up better than expected results. Its fiscal second quarter profit, $265 million. And a suburban Detroit firefighter pays off a struggling family's electricity bill of more than $1,000 after responding to a call at their home. Ryan McEwen saying he was glad to do it, wasn't seeking any recognition, but he does hope to inspire others to take similar action. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lillian Wu.
8:05 in Chicago, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Republican race for the White House has come down to just a handful of candidates. And tonight, beginning at 7, the remaining candidates meet for a debate just days before the Super Tuesday primaries. And the only place to hear the debate in Chicago isn't on your radio. That's right. The only place to hear the debate is on the AM 560 web stream. Listen on the AM 560 mobile app or online at 560theanswer.com/listen. This is your election station, AM 560. The Answer.
The only significant, among all the vitamins I changed, nothing affected cholesterol. I took this and my cholesterol dropped by 15 or 20%.
Yeah, with the acid reflux, and I have GERD and gastritis, and it really seems to be helping a lot, and my husband too. I mean, we're very happy with the product, I got to say it. It's been great, and we've seen dramatic results, so I can't say anything bad about it. We've really been happy with the product. We've been amazed with it.
There is a value in it because it has fruits and veggies, and I'm not a fruit and veggies eater, and I know this is helpful.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Uber is an app that helps you make extra money just for driving your car. And because it's totally flexible, you don't have to quit your day job to make more money, because you can drive and earn whenever you want. There are 3 simple steps to start making money. First, sign up for free on your phone. Second, answer a few questions and get approved. And third, start driving. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up today at drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a free domain with website from GoDaddy.com, starting at $1 a month. Annual purchase of website builder required. Price valid first year only. See website for details.
8:07. Let's get an update on the roads now in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Like snowy conditions prevail in northwest Indiana. It's slow going on northbound I-65 from State Road 10 in Roselawn to 231 in Crown Point. There are a number of crashes. Southbound slow from 30 at Maryville to around 231, and it continues to be snowy and difficult south of there. Ramps are in bad shape, and secondary roads, some remain almost impassable. Speeds are reduced a bit on the Indiana Toll Road as well, especially in LaPorte County, and South Shoreline trains are not operating due to damage. Eden's inbound 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. The Kennedy is an hour from O'Hare to downtown, outbound 31 minutes. The Eisenhower is an hour and 3 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, 37 minutes outbound. Stevenson, 61 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40. Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive delays southbound Lawrence to Fullerton, northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Eastbound Adams Tollway, very slow, Bartlett to Beecham after a crash. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
cloudy day today with wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, high of 38. Then tonight, mostly cloudy, low 25. Clouds and sun tomorrow, high 37, and a clear night, low 29. Partly sunny Saturday, high 52. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
30 at O'Hare, 32 along the lakefront. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Live with Andrew Holmes. Get honest answers to your questions every Sunday at 12 noon.
Good morning. Welcome to your Thursday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Frankly, I think we have good reason to believe that there's a bombshell in Donald Trump's taxes. Because every time he's asked about his taxes, he dodges and delays and says, well, we're working on it.
Nobody's been bringing it up except for Mitt Romney, and the reason he brings it up is that he lost in the last election and lost very badly.
By the way, for those that wonder about Donald Trump, if I go head-to-head with him in Ohio, I beat him by 18 points.
P.T. Barnum is fun to watch. But there comes a time when the clowns and the acrobats and the dancing bears, it's time to put them away.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Boy, the effort to try and prevent fatalism from setting in among non-Trump supporters in the Republican and conservative universes is reaching fever pitch. You got Mitt Romney out there being very un-Romney-like and asking open-ended questions he apparently doesn't have the answers to.
He's using the B word, bombshell.
Yeah. Bombshell requires evidence. That's as much of a bombshell as Donald Trump presenting Obama's real birth certificate back in 2012.
Oh, yeah, I remember that little scenario.
When a bombshell turns into a nothing burger. Bill Kristol in the Weekly Standard against Trump fatalism writes, only 4 states, 1.2 million people have actually cast ballots. Trump won about a third of the votes cast. Cruz and Rubio have each won a bit over a fifth. And he leads the delegates, but, you've got Super Tuesday, and even if he wins 2/3, you still have March 15th with winner-take-all states that will be fiercely contested, so it's not over. It's pretty close. If it's not the proverbial, if the fat lady is not singing, she is certainly warming up. And then there's this kind of sign of the times. Trump not only enjoying his first congressional endorsements from Congressman Chris Collins and Duncan Hunter. Duncan Hunter, this is my favorite reaction to the Trump endorsement. He said, we need a leader as president. I don't think Trump wants my endorsement, and that's one of the reasons I like him. But then there's this Trump in the culture. Trump is being used as a jeer by school kids in a basketball game in Iowa, Perry, Iowa. Monday night's game, two high schools. One high school that had diversity of players of Latino and Native American and African American heritage, and
they're playing against a pretty much all-white girls basketball team.
Right, and
what did they shout at him, Dan?
Trump, 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 and USA were used as ways to try and intimidate the players on the diverse team.
Reciting things Trump has said about what he plans to do with immigrants and their children if he becomes president.
Oh, boy.
We're going to Trump you. That means we're going to kick you out of this country is what they were saying, and it's disgraceful. But Donald Trump has encouraged this kind of bad behavior.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
He's encouraging high school girls to
and grown men to treat women differently. Trust me, I see it happening in the coarsening of our society. I can give you a graphic example of something that happened to me with a guy with a Trump shirt on, Make America Great Again.
I wonder,
and it was despicable.
Yeah, I wonder if perhaps it's possible that Trump is the symptom rather than the cause of the coarsening of our culture. But for more on this and so many other things, we're now joined by our friend James Taranto. He, of course, a member of the Wall Street Journal editorial board, and he pens the must-read column each day, Best of the Web Today. James, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Good to be here.
So are you in the Trump fatalism camp or in the it's still possible that somebody else could be the Republican nominee?
Well, I made a point a few months ago of overcoming my initial horror at the idea of a Trump presidency, simply because I thought it would make for better analysis. So I've tried to I've tried to distance myself from those feelings and develop an understanding of what his appeal is. And my analysis, which I think is more objective, is that it's very unlikely that anyone else will be the nominee, simply because that would require pretty much all of the polls now to turn out to be wrong 5 days from now. It would require a sudden change in the way things seem to have been going.
So, James, in your thought processes, in your soul searching, have you discovered whether or not Donald Trump is a principled man?
A principled man? No, I wouldn't describe him that way. I also wouldn't describe a good many other politicians that way. I understand why people on the right find Trump horrifying, find him the worst possible Republican nominee. I'm a bit confused by people who are now saying, well, if it's Trump versus Mrs. Clinton, I would vote for Mrs. Clinton. People who loathe everything that Mrs. Clinton stands for ideologically. I can't quite understand how that calculation works out.
Yeah, I mean, the argument that is being made by many in kind of conservative intellectual circles that Clinton we could survive because then we would be the opposition party, not responsible for her. But Trump would destroy the party from within. Trump would be indistinguishable from Republican, from conservative, and this is something that is not survivable. That's the argument that's being made.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that. I mean, I guess I don't consider myself to be a party person to begin with. I'm a writer. I'm a critic. I'll write what I think, regardless of who's president. So I just don't quite understand that line of reasoning.
Now, on the other side, this is kind of an interesting development from a Clintonista, no less, Paul Begala, saying that Hillary Clinton, if she's the nominee, that the slogan is basically be afraid, be very afraid, that Hillary Clinton, it's going to be scorched earth, it's going to be hellfire. If it's Trump or whoever, she is going to have to make that opponent box office poison, and that's going to be the campaign, a race to the bottom, because she is so untrusted and unliked.
Well, and that's what the Obama campaign did to Mitt Romney in 2012. I mean, remember they had that ad showing the guy who said that Romney had taken over his company and taken away his health insurance and given his wife cancer. I mean, of course they're going to be nasty, and they would be nasty regardless of who the nominee was. I don't think the Republicans can avoid this kind of trouble by nominating somebody like John Kasich, who's now the Liberals' favorite Republican. They would turn on him in a second.
Well, what about this enthusiasm gap? I mean, clearly the Republicans have more enthusiasm. They're going to the polls in greater numbers than Democrats are compared to 2008 and 2012. So it's a big difference. I mean, you look at Nevada alone, it's unbelievable how many Democrats didn't show up. 31% didn't. So if it is Trump versus Hillary Clinton, is it a guaranteed Trump victory if you look at these numbers so far in the states that have had primaries and caucuses?
You know, Trump is such a wild card. I can imagine just about any outcome with him, whereas I think the range of outcomes with other candidates is narrower. But, I know quite a few people who are Republicans or conservatives who say Trump would lose to her in a landslide. And I can see the argument there. I've also heard people argue Trump would win in a landslide, and I can see how that might happen because in some ways he has the capacity to appeal more broadly than other Republicans have, and he's shown that with his performances in the primaries.
Switching gears a little bit, President Obama may be playing a little bit of jujitsu with the Supreme Court nominee that he may put forward, expectedly will put forward at some point in the not-too-distant future. Rumors about Nevada Governor, Republican Brian Sandoval, Latino, former federal judge, former state attorney general. Would that upset the apple cart? Could that cause division in the Senate Republicans in terms of them holding the line that they've drawn of no hearings, whoever the nominee is?
Well, it might peel off Dean Heller, the Republican senator from Nevada, who actually alluded to the possibility of Sandoval when he commented about a few days ago about the prospect of a nominee. But one thing I think is smart about the way the Republicans in the Senate have handled this, saying we're not going to do anything, we're not going to have any hearings, we're not confirming anyone, is it creates a situation in which I suspect it will be much harder for the president to find somebody who's willing to take this nomination, because it's basically a doomed nomination. If you do manage to press them into having hearings, the hearings could be brutal, because you're talking about Republicans in the Senate who remember the Robert Bork experience, the Clarence Thomas experience. This is the first time that a vacancy has occurred with a Democratic president and a Republican Senate since 1895. And so the Republicans are in a position where they may be rather bloody-minded about it. So I was at a dinner party last week with a federal judge, and I made this point, and he disagreed with me. And then I said to him, well, would you take it? And he said no.
Really?
Because
so the line that the senators laid down, they're not going to lift that up? I mean, so you think this is a political game? Because, I mean, think about it. If we elect a Democratic president, Sandoval could be stopping us from getting a staunch liberal in there.
Yeah, but look at if Obama is seriously considering somebody like Sandoval, that means he's not very confident in the Democrats' prospects in November.
So it's a WWG.
And in any case, if there's a Democratic president, particularly if there's a Democratic president and a Democratic Senate next year, the Supreme Court is probably lost to the Republicans anyway, because at that point, Ginsburg and Breyer have got to start thinking about retiring. And if there's a Democratic Senate, if the Senate and the president are the same party, the filibuster for Supreme Court justices is gone anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a scary prospect.
It's a good point. So it's a WWGCD. What would Grover Cleveland do for president?
Well, what
Obama
Grover Cleveland did was he appointed Rufus Peckham, who wrote the famous Lochner decision, which is now reviled by liberals. This was a decision about limiting the state government's power to regulate. It was later overturned as part of the New Deal. But if we could have another Rufus Peckham, I'd be happy with that.
Sure. And I'll tell you what, you're only going to get a Rufus Peckham reference on this show. James Taranto, Wall Street Journal editorial board, the author of the column Best of the Web Today. James, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't chant Rufus Peckham. Roof. That's offensive. No, I'm kidding. Today's forecast, breezy with considerable cloudiness, a high of 38 degrees. Then tomorrow, chilly. We're going to have some sun, some clouds, a high of 37 degrees. How's the inbound Kennedy shaping up? Here's Jim Talamonte with the answer.
Heavy. It's an hour from O'Hare to downtown, 38 minutes from Montrose, 32 in the Express. Outbound 31 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Edens, 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 23. Eisenhower, an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 37 minutes. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown, but the worst remains northwest Indiana, where the snow and wind have intensified again. And southbound, if I-65 is closed right now. From US 30 in Merrillville to around 231 in Crown Point, there's snow on the roadway. Ramps are affected as well. And northbound, we still see significant delays and reduced speeds from around State Road 10 and Roselawn up to 231. It's slow and snowy on the Indiana Toll Road, mainly now in LaPorte County. Lake and Porter, the interstate conditions have improved. South Shoreline service still shut down as well. The major Illinois tollway delays on the eastbound Adams Tollway. Stop and go Bartlett to Meacham after an earlier crash. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
It is family owned. It has been around for more than a half century. Of course, I am talking about Schrank's, the respected establishment that opened in Lake County, Illinois. And it started as a hobby to Mike Schrank, and it's served generations of firearm customers that are treated like family. Schrank's Smoke and Gun retains that family atmosphere, and they now carry the largest selection of new, used, and consignment firearms in Lake County. Over 800, including pistols, rifles, shotguns, plus hard-to-find calibers and ammunitions, even collectibles, older functioning hunting rifles, and full gunsmith services. Whether you're thinking about your first firearm and a FOID card or looking to add to your collection, now is the perfect time to discover Schranks. Every store-owned firearm right now is up to 40% off, during their annual store-wide sale that runs through February 27th. So if you love cigars too, you'll also find your favorites in Schranks humidors. Visit smokegun.org or call 847-662-4034. Schranks Smoke and Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964. 847-662-4034.
Your company uses interior lighting 12 hours a day, 5 or more days a week. That's up to 40% of your energy costs. Now imagine huge immediate savings with worry-free replacement lights that fit in your current fluorescent fixtures. LED tube lighting with a 10-year warranty and up to 20-year useful life. Cost-conscious companies are converting now to cutting-edge revolutionary LED lighting. From factories and retail to office and residential, discover the benefits of quality manufactured LED lighting from Chicago's premier LED fluorescent replacement provider, Lights LLC. They're retrofit so there's no fixtures to replace. Made of safe, unbreakable plastic, they won't flicker and eliminate ballast buzz. Your employees will love them. To learn more, contact Lights LLC right now for a free lighting ROI analysis. Call Scott Moninger at 630-778-5002 or visit litesllc.com, 630-778-5002 or lightsllc.com. Lights is a proud Feed the Children business benefactor.
The following is a paid political announcement.
When I was elected by the people of Texas in 2012, I promised I'd fight for the Constitution and the people it was designed to protect, and fight to secure the borders and stand for the rule of law. I promised I'd fight the Washington insiders when it came to spending and our national debt, and for the conservative values that made this country great, without apology. When I got to Washington, I did just that. I fought Obamacare, the Gang of Eight amnesty bill, and the debt ceiling limit. Some of those fights got me in trouble with members of my own party, but I wasn't elected to serve them. Now I'm running for president, and I need your help. Please help my campaign fight back against the establishment. Help me help all of us to take our country back. Give $10, $25, or $50. Let's show the establishment elites that we the people are the best hope for America. Go to cruzcrew.org now. Please, that's cruzcrew.org now. I'm Ted Cruz, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Cruz for President. Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560.
Dan and Amy, Dan and Amy, I want to hear less from Donald and more from Ivanka and more from Melania, too.
Yeah, Melania sat down for a one-on-one with Mika from Morning Joe, and you know how they met? Donald Trump was on
Mika and Melania?
No, Donald and Melania, his third wife. Donald Trump was on a date with another woman, and he saw her from across the room and somehow managed to get away from his date to give Melania his cell phone, office phone, and home phone number.
The heart wants what it wants.
Yes, and it was love at first sight.
What was it that you saw in Donald when you met him or fell in love with him?
His mind, amazing mind, and very smart, very charming, a great energy. We have a great relationship. We are own people. I'm my own person, he's his own person, and I think that's very important. I don't want to change him, he doesn't want to change me.
And she's a very polished person. I loved her answers. She seems personable to a level, but very fiercely defensive to her husband. She says that she talks to him 2 to 3 times a day. She's not with him on the campaign trail because she's a stay-at-home mom, and she's raising Barron, who's 11 years old right now. And but she says that she does give him advice. She doesn't like the fact that he curses a lot. And she has this to say about keeping Muslims out of the country.
When he talked about a ban on Muslims, which can't happen for so many reasons. I mean, do you ever think he's going too far with some of this?
Well,
do you ever worry about it?
Well, what he said is it will be temporary, and it's not for all the Muslims. It's the one, we need to screen them who is coming to the country.
All right, sounds good. But, Donald Trump has such a strong stance against immigration, and she's an immigrant herself, born and raised in Slovenia.
Illegal immigrant.
Well, yeah, she let people know that she is here legally.
But you're an immigrant.
Yes.
Do you ever think he's gone too far?
I follow the law. I follow a law the way it's supposed to be. I never thought to stay here without papers. I had visa. I travel every few months back to the country, to Slovenia, to stamp the visa. I came back. I applied for the green card. I applied for the citizenship later on after.
All right, so she's here legally. She speaks 5 languages: English, Slovenian, German, French, Italian. She's a very smart lady.
And so if it's good enough for Melania
Mm-hmm.
on the immigration piece, then shouldn't it be good enough for everybody else?
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hi, I'm Lex Howard, CEO of Balance of Nature. I occasionally take new customer calls, and often people tell me that they have been hearing our advertisements for years. What are you waiting for? Start now and begin experiencing the benefits of Balance of Nature in your life.
I actually believe that it is working because I went to have my thyroid TSH level checked and my T3 and 4, and in October originally it was at 3. My TSH was at 3.28, and Monday's test came out to 0.63. I do believe that it has something to do with it.
Good health is just a phone call away. What are you waiting for? Call now and take the health challenge to get a free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing, independently owned business bank. Signature Bank listens to your story, learns about your business, and sticks with their customers. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Kurt Penn, founder and CEO of Good Foods. In 2007, I was shopping in a natural foods grocery store and had a vision for a company that would produce fresh, all-natural foods with a social conscience. Signature Bank helped turn that vision into what now is Good Foods. Signature Bank President Mick O'Rourke listened to our story and learned about our business. Mick has been with us every step of the way. Signature Bank takes care of the details so we can focus on producing good foods. Signature Bank is deeply invested in our success. Good Foods is very proud to bank with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Still trying to figure out who won that Perry High School Dallas Center Grimes Iowa girls basketball game.
Yeah, fiercely competitive, apparently. Coming up, let's move from politics to a little policy, energy policy to be specific. Trump versus Hillary, maybe some of the other candidates too. How would the energy policy decisions differ? We'll talk to the VP from the American Petroleum Institute at 8:38.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
32 degrees, 8:31. Republican presidential candidates squaring off for another debate tonight. CNN airing the primetime debate at the University of Houston. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump says he's not decided whether to release his tax records, in which 2012 GOP nominee Mitt Romney says may contain a bombshell.
I think there's something there. Either he's not anywhere near as wealthy as he says he is, or he hasn't been paying the kind of taxes we would expect him to pay, or perhaps he hasn't been giving money to the vets or to the disabled like he's been telling us he's been doing.
Romney on Fox. Authorities are still parsing through details on why 3 deputies in Colorado were involved in an eviction notice which ended in gunfire.
I don't know the exact players who responded to the scene. I just know that there was a team that went in to take care of this eviction process. As for why they were there and, deeper into the elements of what happened, I just can't comment on that at this time.
Colorado Bureau of Investigation spokesperson Susana Medina says multiple agencies are going through the Bailey, Colorado home where Corporal Nate Kerrigan was shot to death. Master Patrol Deputy Colby Martin was hit several times by bullets in that shootout. Powerful winter storm that killed 8 in the south is sweeping toward the northeast today. An 80-year-old American being held in Iran. The family of Bakwar Namazi says he was arrested in Tehran on Monday. He is a dual American-Iranian citizen. Spokesperson says a university in South Africa is being evacuated and the campus shut down indefinitely after protesting students burned buildings down. Northwest Indiana bore the brunt of our storm that left as much as 15 inches of snow in spots, caused mass flight cancellation at Chicago airports yesterday and problems again this morning, and also shut down the South Shore rail line this morning. A defrocked Roman Catholic priest and convicted child molester will not be headed to trial again. Prosecutors say they were forced to drop aggravated sexual abuse charges against Daniel McCormack because the accuser was no longer cooperating. And a Lake County woman is alive after being reported missing last week. Danielle Schultz was found unconscious in her vehicle in Kenosha, Wisconsin, last seen Monday leaving her Beach Park home. Bulls beat Washington 109-104. The news service of Compassion International. Almost 1 billion children around the world live in extreme poverty. You can change or even save the life of one of those kids. Become a sponsor with Compassion International. Find out how at compassion.com/radio. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Even after a win in Nevada, Mike Gallagher isn't ready to call Trump the nominee.
The establishment, make no mistake, these guys do not like Donald Trump. They do not like Ted Cruz. But these guys are saying it looks like it's going to be Trump. You're not going to be able to stop Trump. And I have to confess, I don't see that right now. And I wonder if that's not a bit of a game that they're playing. Because there's a lot of gamesmanship, let's face it.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Okay, so you own a business and cash is tight. So what do you do when you need funds? Go to a bank? Yeah, right. Waste a lot of time, send tons of paperwork, only to find out you need to personally guarantee your home, firstborn, and everything in between. Or you can just call the Business Funding Group. Yeah, it's fast and simple, with a 95% approval rate and cash for any business purpose. Equipment, inventory, expansion, cash flow, payroll. Grab a pen or put this number in your cell phone, but call 1-800-684-5434. That's 1-800-684-5434. When you call, you'll find out how to quickly and easily get the cash you need, up to $1 million with no collateral, no app or upfront fees, and your credit rating is not a factor. Plus approvals in 12 hours and funds in 2 to 3 days. Call the Business Funding Group at 1-800-684-5434. That's 1-800-684-5434. This is by far the fastest and best business loan you can possibly get. Call 1-800-684-5434 now.
8:36 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Very latest now with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. I-65 is partially reopened southbound from US 30 to 231. The right lane remains blocked due to snow on the roadway, and crews are there to try and clear that. Northbound is very slow going. State Road 10 up to 231. For closures in Kankakee County, including 17 in the Grant Park area just off I-57. A lot of vehicles are stuck there on the Illinois side. The inbound Kennedy has delays from Nagel to the Burns Circle. 55 minutes O'Hare to downtown. The Ohio feeder's jam, so the express lane save nothing at the moment. Outbound 31 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Eden's 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. The Eisenhower, an hour and 3 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 32 minutes. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eastbound Adams Tollway, still stop and go Bartlett Road to Meacham. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Breezy with considerable clouds today, high 38. Still some snow showers in northwest Indiana. 32 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, let's talk a little energy policy. It turns out it's kind of important to economic vitality in the state of Illinois, in the United States of America. And now that we've got the matchup set between President-elect Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, let's compare and contrast their particular views as it relates to energy policy. And to do that, We're now joined by Kyle Issachower. He's the Vice President for Regulatory and Economic Policy at the American Petroleum Institute. Kyle, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me this morning.
So I assume that there's been some review of what the leading presidential candidates have said as it pertains to energy policy. And why don't we start with Trump and Hillary and get your reviews on who you think would be friendly to a independent, to a nation that can provide its energy independently of, say, the Middle East, as well as to realize all the benefits associated with a dynamic energy sector.
Well, we haven't heard too much from the Trump camp as in terms of their specific energy policy, but certainly he has made comments that he does want to develop domestic energy, and that certainly is good for the economy and good for consumers here in the United States. We've heard a completely different story from the Clinton campaign. Clinton is aligning herself very closely with the Obama administration. Obviously, she was part of that Obama administration, and she has been supportive of the Obama administration proposal to put an additional $10.25 per barrel tax on products that are sold here in the United States, both fuels and products that are made from petroleum products. So. Clearly, there's a leaning towards more of a leave it in the ground policy, not only from this administration but also from the Clinton camp, and frankly from the Sanders camp as well.
Yeah, they want us to drive around in those electric cars.
No, the Sanders camp, as I understand, I haven't reviewed Sanders' policy in detail, but as I understand it, he believes we can power the U.S. economy on Vermont maple syrup. Is that correct?
If only we could.
Yeah. So Kyle, this $10 per barrel fee on oil, I mean, where is the money going to go toward? I mean, the revenue that they want to, tax on the oil, what would it be used for?
Well, they want to put it towards what they refer to as clean transportation infrastructure. So it's going to go towards rail. It's going to go towards battery, charging stations for electric vehicles, et cetera. Those are the types of projects. And the problem is those are projects that really aren't used by everyday Americans. Everyday Americans, when you look at the middle class, lower income families, they're driving around in cars. They're taking the bus. These are specifically the types of fuels, cars and buses are using the types of fuels that are going to be hurt most by this tax. What's really, really frustrating about this proposal is that because the $10.25 per barrel tax is applied towards the actual products, what that means is it's going towards the fuels. And who spends more on fuels as a percentage of their household income? Is it the upper class or the lower class? It's actually the middle and lower classes that have a larger percentage of their household budget that goes towards energy. So this is a regressive tax. So what you're doing is you're actually putting most of the economic impact on the middle and lower classes to fund projects that would tend to be used by more wealthy Americans.
Yeah, but
not going to be using charging stations.
Yeah.
It's the people who can afford to buy a Tesla.
Well, there you go. Stephen Chu, Obama Energy Secretary, wanted $7-8 per gallon gas. I mean, if everybody just buys a $90,000 Tesla and gets a $12,000 subsidy back from their state and local government, then the problem's solved. So what's wrong with that?
Well, that's exactly it. And it is frustrating when you see an administration that purports to care about the middle class and the lower income households, and yet they put a regressive tax proposal in their budget like this that clearly targets the Americans who are least able to afford it.
Where do you project gas prices going?
They're going up right now.
Sans this tax that Obama has proposed. Gas prices going, obviously, the Americans are enjoying very low gas prices right now. And I know from the Energy Information Administration, I mean, the whole issue of domestic energy production, what does the EIA project? That we have 200 years worth of untapped petroleum reserves. So all of this push to subsidize the Cylindras and the windmills of the world doesn't seem to make a lot of sense compared to the resources that we have and can access.
Yeah, we certainly have plenty of oil and gas for America's needs going forward into the future. Right now we're producing at near record levels here in the United States, producing oil, that is, over 9 million barrels a day. Just 7-8 years ago, we were down at 5 million barrels a day. And because of fracking, because of our ability to cost effectively access oil shales, places like North Dakota and South Texas, West Texas, we now have the ability to produce over 9 million barrels a day cost effectively at prices that are, frankly, significantly lower than they used to be. So EIA, as you mentioned, is projecting that we're going to be up around 9 million barrels a day of production for the next 25 years and well beyond that. So we have plenty here in the United States.
And so just to put a fine point on that, can you project out where you see gas prices going? I mean, I know that's a bit of a fool's errand. Not too many people were predicting $30 a barrel in February, but any sense of where that goes?
Well, I wish I could tell you where gas prices were going. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, it's a very complex market. It all comes down to supply and demand, but there's so many different factors that impact both supply and demand. Obviously, if there's a geopolitical unrest and there's been some saber rattling between the Saudis and the Iranians in recent months, something like that could send a signal to the market that there's going to be a supply disruption, and that could increase prices. But frankly, what we're seeing for the near term, EIA is projecting that globally we're still going to see production outstripping supply for the next year or so. So the likelihood that we're going to see a significant jump in prices is somewhat low. But again, it's very, very difficult to predict because there are just so many different things that can happen around the globe that can impact the price of oil. And oil is a globally traded commodity, so it really is anything that could disrupt price anywhere in the world.
Yeah, speaking of trading and exporting and importing, how much does the U.S. export? How many barrels?
Very little, actually. We're just starting. We just had the crude export ban lifted at the end of 2015. So I think the first overseas shipment just left earlier this month. So the amount that we're shipping in tankers is really very little. We've always had a little bit of trade between Canada and a tiny bit that was able to leave Alaska. But it's just a very small fraction of what we produce. The vast, vast majority of what we produce here in the United States is indeed refined here in the United States.
Now, Democrats are going to go after the big bad oil companies because they're a convenient boogeyman like the big bad banks. And I wonder if American Petroleum Institute takes the position that essentially Ted Cruz did when he stood against the ethanol lobby, if you will, in Iowa, in the Iowa caucus, and said, look, I'm for all of the above in terms of energy production, but I'm not for this picking winners, government picking and winners and losers through tax and subsidy policy. Get the government out of the business of incentivizing and let the market dictate production, whether it's in fossil fuels or alternative sources of energy. What's your view on that?
Well, I think that's exactly where we stand as well. We believe in free markets, and we think that the consumer is always going to be benefited by free markets. When the government steps in and starts mandating that you use this fuel or that fuel, or puts additional costs on fuels that distort the free market, frankly, the loser is always going to be the consumer. And this is something that's been seen, in economic policy for hundreds of years now. Whenever governments step in, they are distorting markets. The free market is going to work most effectively to produce products, whether it's energy or any other kind of product. It's always going to be most cost effective to the consumer when there's competition in the market, and that's going to bring down costs to the lowest costs possible. It's always going to be beneficial to the market. So we don't want to see the renewable fuel standard anymore. We'd like to see that repealed. It's been distorting the market for motor fuels for years now, and frankly, it's just bad policy. It's time to get rid of it.
And that would also go then for special tax treatment for oil companies as well.
Of course, we don't want any special tax treatment. There's really, there's an awful lot of talk about the oil and gas industry getting subsidies. We really don't get any subsidies. What we have in terms of tax policy is we have the ability to recover our operational costs, just like any other industry has the ability to recover costs through the tax code. But we don't get credits. We don't get subsidies from the government, which is a point that, it's an erroneous point that's been leveled against our industry for years now.
All right. He is Kyle Ishikawa, Vice President for Regulatory and Economic Policy at the American Petroleum Institute. Kyle, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Sunshine right now, but it's a little breezy out there, a high of 38 degrees, but nothing like yesterday, huh? And then tomorrow, chilly with intervals of some sun and clouds, pretty much the same, a high of 37 degrees. Let's get the travel times. How's that inbound Kennedy doing, Jim?
Well, Amy, your inbound Kennedy's improved a little, 55 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. But the express lanes have gotten worse, really jammed from Montrose to Ohio with the feeder backed up. It's 38 minutes from Montrose, locals or express. Outbound 30 minutes downtown to the airport. Edens, 21 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. The Eisenhower, an hour and 3 minutes Thorndale to downtown, outbound 32 minutes. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 Lakeshore Drive, outbound a little heavy approaching Cicero. Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go Bartlett to Meacham. Reagan Tollway, heavy Myers to Midwest. Veterans Memorial's fine, but in Northwest Indiana, authorities still advise against unnecessary travel. I-65, slow and snowy southbound from north of Maryville to Crown Point. The right lane's blocked to try and clear snow. Northbound slow going from Roselawn up to Crown Point. South Shoreline service still shut down. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Remember that vacation that you take that sticks with you, that you dream of going back, a place that you dream of going back to? Well, for me, that place is Ritz-Carlton Dove Mountain Resort, just outside of Tucson, Arizona. There's endless outdoor activities, tennis, horseback riding, 20 miles of hiking and biking trails. And everywhere you look, there's breathtaking, really just stunning views of the Sonoran Desert because you are enclosed in 5 different mountain ranges. So if you're a golfer, it's the best course you can play in Arizona. If you like the spas, oh yeah, number 3 spa in all of North America. It is perfect for a family vacation because they have a kids pool with a water slide and a kids club, or you could go there for a romantic getaway. The food is excellent. The chefs are award-winning. There are direct flights from O'Hare and Midway, so you can fly into Phoenix or Tucson. 350 days of sunshine a year. Have I sold you? Special rates and packages are available right now for your spring break. So visit ritzcarlton.com/Dove Mountain for all the details. That's ritzcarlton.com/Dove Mountain.
You're a physician, a nurse, or in the medical field. You have a sick patient who requires a custom, non-sterile compounded medication. This is some big news. You can refer with confidence your patients to Martin Avenue Pharmacy in Naperville, the first and only compounding pharmacy in DuPage, Kane, Kendall, LaSalle, DeKalb, and Western Will County to earn the Pharmacy Compounding Accreditation Board's seal of accreditation. The first and only. Patients and medical professionals want to know their compounding pharmacy is of the highest quality and has been independently verified. PCAB offers patients and medical professionals a way to verify that their compounding pharmacy is meeting the very highest and strictest national standards. When you know the difference, it makes a difference. Martin Avenue Pharmacy in Naperville, a PCAB accredited compounding pharmacy, 630-355-6400, or go to martinavenue.com.
We make it better, like nobody else. We make it better. Martin Avenue.
I'm Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea brought to you by the Illinois Opportunity Project. 27 Illinois state employees, on average, receive total compensation 27% higher than their private sector counterparts. State employees made nearly $4,000 more in wages and $13,000 in benefits than private sector employees. More than half of state workers will retire before the age of 60 with a guaranteed state pension. The state is in a financial death spiral with ground impact imminent, so keep this in mind as Governor Bruce Rauner breaks off contract talks with AFSCME, the state's largest public sector union. AFSCME has been unwilling to give on its demands for annual step increases of 3.8%, in addition to annual general wage increases. The lowball estimate of the cost of what AFSCME demands is $1.6 billion. That's $1.6 billion more from Illinois families who already pay the highest property taxes in the nation. This is Governor Rauner's moment of truth. He ran for office saying he is not a politician. He said he is a businessman who will make the difficult decisions to turn around the state he loves. We're about to find out if that's true. For more Upstream ideas, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560, The Answer.
Talking energy policy, the difference between a Trump and a Hillary administration. Let's go to Ralph and Monique. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. You know, a lot of times when we hear oil prices lowering, you hear a lot of people screaming in the media, that's horrible, low energy prices. No, it's terrific. Low energy prices allow for the production of lower cost goods. One of the big differences was Saudi is able to extract a barrel of oil for like $18 a barrel. Out in the Bakken oil fields, it was like $32. Well, now with oil selling at $30, either they've lowered their production costs or there are people going out of business. So, because oil's a commodity, it just drives me crazy. Usually when market prices lower and you're a price taker, not a price maker, you either lower your costs or you go out of business. It's great for everybody.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Ralph. It's paraphrasing Bastiat. You know, he who acts in the interest of the consumer acts in the interest of humanity. Sean in Elmwood Park.
All of that is true. It's not just the leading or lagging indicator. It's a key fundamental. That's undeniable. The problem with it is that it's colluded, is that it is a cartel, is that what no one tells you is the most money made on oil, on refining gas, on anything is made by government. And that is Hillary Clinton's new thing. She wants to price fix the profit. Like in Illinois with Ray LaHood, 10 cents a gallon is always Ray LaHood tax. So that's what you call that. You have 70 cents in Illinois that is strictly taxes. See, people always forget that. So the problem is you're colluding in your price fixing. Here's Donald Trump's problem. He's in on the scam. He loves the subsidies. He can't wait for the subsidies. He has no oil policy other than that to enrich the government. We need more free markets. There's one candidate doing that. That's Ted Cruz. The other thing to remember is the pompadour, Dumbo ears, big old Marco Rubio, who argued vehemently for cap and trade. He loved the idea of cap and trade. In Florida, he sold it as the best way to drag Florida and pay for everybody's free everything. So you've got candidates you better pay attention to, because oil is a fundamental, and we cannot have a booming anything with expensive oil. We already have it overtaxed and overpriced, even now at $30 a barrel.
Thanks, Sean.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Honey, please pass me my cocktail.
Here you go, babe. Sunset sure is pretty after a long day at the beach.
I could get used to living life in swimwear.
We can start booking our next trip tomorrow while sitting around at the pool.
You've been pretty lucky that you've been able to spend some quality time in the sun. Something that you may not be so lucky with is the fact that 1 in 5 people will develop skin cancer in their lifetime. At Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, they know that most people are unaware of the effects that a lifetime of sun can have on their skin. If you've been sunburned in your lifetime, it's time to have your skin checked out. Call Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates at 855-560-SKIN. or visit skinhealthpros.com. The doctors at Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates have your skin health covered. Skin cancer kills, so today's the day to get your skin checked. Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates, 855-560-SKIN. or visit skinhealthpros.com. Healthy skin, healthy body, healthy, happy you.
You've heard us talking about it for weeks. I'm talking about our Escape to Cabo trip to the Secrets Puerto Los Cabos Golf and Spa Resort. That's April 2nd through the 9th, presented by Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates and by Artistic Dentistry. The exclusive Apple Vacations price has expired, but there is still limited availability at a higher price. So if you want to join us in Cabo, you need to take action now. We're staying at the Secrets Puerto Los Cabos Golf and Spa Resort, an all-inclusive all-suites resort that opened in December 2013. It has 8 restaurants, 4 bars, unlimited premium drinks, and 24 hours a day room service. The resort has 2 sparkling pools and access to 3 miles of pristine beaches. And adjacent to the resort are 2 9-hole golf courses, one designed by Nicholas, the other designed by Norman. To get your trip booked today, you must visit 560theanswer.com, keyword escape.
Are you in foreclosure, behind in the mortgage, underwater with a mortgage? Well, you'd be not alone. In fact, there's 20 million other American families in the same boat as you.